Hollywood, starred as an agent. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction. So don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 401 Unable to Resist Temptation. After peaking, Hong Kong's film market has begun to decline. However, Hong Kong films still have their own unique heritage, and even this will take time to come to an end. Police Story 4, Simple Mission, another Jack Cheng Lunar New Year film. In his villa in Repulse Bay, Aaron leaned back on the sofa, flipping through the newspaper. He was looking at the Jack Cheng film currently being screened in Hong Kong. Yes, it's been out for a month and the box office has already exceeded 35 million Hong Kong dollars, and the momentum is unabated. Wang Xiuxin on the side spoke up. Golden Harvest's production of Police Story 4, Simple Tasks has an international bent. The director is the director of Rumble in the Bronx, and the filming locations include Australia, Ukraine, Russia and other places. There are also many foreign actors in the cast. Aaron nodded. Hollywood's New Line Cinema is responsible for the North American distribution, and they must have their reasons for this. Previously, after the success of Rumble in the Bronx invested by Xu Guang, it also released two of Jack Cheng's old films, Operation Condor and Super Cop, which were also released in North America and earned over tens of millions of dollars at the box office. New Line Cinema had previously distributed Golden Harvest's live-action version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, which was a success, and then purchased several of Jack Cheng's works from Golden Harvest. Next, Golden Harvest and Jack Cheng will go to Australia to shoot the new film A Good Man in preparation for next year's Lunar New Year box office. Wang Xiuxin has always had a cooperative relationship with Golden Harvest in Hong Kong and is familiar with these matters. Aaron smiled. Rush Hour, starring Jack Cheng, is also coming out this year. After the success of Rush Hour, Jack Cheng's fame would undoubtedly soar. After all, this was a Hollywood commercial starring Jack Cheng. By the way, earlier this year, Media Asia invested in a low-budget comic book adaptation, which grossed over 20 million Hong Kong dollars. The second sequel is coming out at the end of this month. Wang Xiuxin was referring to the Young and Dangerous series. The first film, Young and Dangerous, The Way of the Dragon, was released in late January, and the sequel, Young and Dangerous, Way of the Dragon, is coming out at the end of this month. The Young and Dangerous series was produced by Hong Kong's Best Partner Pictures, financed by Media Asia, and distributed by Golden Harvest. Best Partner Pictures is a company founded by Hong Kong filmmakers Wong Jing, Andrew Law, and Wen Jun. The first film came out in January. The second is coming out at the end of this month too. Aaron's mouth twitched. He knew Hong Kong films were fast-paced, but this was too fast, wasn't it? Wang Xiuxin smiled, sat on Aaron's lap, and put her arm around his neck. Come on, actually, the first film only took 10 days to shoot, and the budget was only a few million Hong Kong dollars. Before the Lunar New Year holiday, the release date wasn't good, but as soon as it was released, it was a hit. Because of the huge success of Young and Dangerous, filming of the second film, Young and Dangerous 2, Way of the Dragon, began immediately. Aaron nodded, reaching out to grope Wang Xiuxin's thigh. Then why don't you act in it? Wang Xiuxin shook her head. It's based on a violent Hong Kong gangster comic. Full of action and violence. For various reasons, many investment companies were not optimistic about this film. Otherwise, the Best Partner Company wouldn't have found Media Asia. After all, Wang Xiuxin and Wong Jing had worked together before, and they knew each other. Heihe Investment Company, a subsidiary of Cheyenne Fund, holds a 45% stake in Media Asia Films and is managed by Wang Xiuxin. That's a lot of money, Aaron said, kissing the girl on the cheek. Yes, the film wasn't a big investment, but it's a great success. Wang Xiuxin didn't want to be in the film, not only because she thought it was a shoddy project, but also because she frequently returned to the mainland. The VCD company she invested in was rapidly expanding and seizing the market, and she had also invested in 2 video stores in other cities. In Bordeaux, France, I had someone buy you an 80-hectare wine estate. It also has over 30 hectares of vineyards, and it has a castle. You can go see it when you have time, Aaron said, hugging Wang Xuexin in his arms. Ah, isn't that cheap? Not bad, around 50 million francs. It's sure to appreciate in value. 50 million francs is just under 10 million US dollars. Thank you. Maybe I can bring a Hong Kong crew there to film a movie later. Wang Xuexin kissed Aaron on the mouth. That's nearly 80 million Hong Kong dollars. Whatever you want, maybe you can even bring some wine to Hong Kong. Aaron smiled. By the way, what's Jet Li, the Hong Kong action actor who's as famous as Jack Chang, doing lately? After all, Shu Guang still had two Once Upon a Time in China series that he bought a few years ago. They've never been released in American theaters and are gathering dust in the warehouse. Jet Li, he had 3 kung fu movies released last year. They're all fashion action movies. They didn't do very well at the Hong Kong box office, however, they're doing well in other places. Right now, Jet Li seems to be filming an action movie adapted from a comic book. Wang Xuexin's eyes lit up. The movie Jet Li is filming is called Black Mask. It's an urban superhero theme. Also, the characters look as dark, wearing black clothes, a black hat, and a black eye patch. That's right, similar to the style of Batman in the United States. Aaron thought about it and had some impression of Black Mask. The action scenes were very fierce, which was somewhat in line with the tastes of Americans. However, there's no need to rush. As long as Jet Li hasn't made his Hollywood debut, his films likely won't see regular releases in the US. It's Jack Chang's turn. It was only after the release of Rumble in the Bronx, when he gained recognition, that Shu Guang began to release his older films in theaters. As for Jet Li, if Aaron doesn't have any plans to bring him to Hollywood now, he'll have to wait until he plays the villain in Lethal Weapon 4 before considering it. However, since Aaron was already working on Jack Chang's Rumble in the Bronx, he certainly can bring him to Hollywood sooner rather than later. When Rush Hour is released this year, its success is sure to be astounding, and Jack Chang's skyrocketing fame will attract even more Hong Kong filmmakers to Hollywood. Furthermore, John Woo's second Hollywood film, Broken Arrow, is set to be released next month, and another Hong Kong director, Tsui Hark, is also preparing to film his Hollywood debut, The King's Avatar. Hong Kong directors have already explored the path, and now with Jack Chang's success, other actors will surely be tempted. Chapter 402 Hollywood's Strategy. In Hollywood's globalization strategy, Hong Kong cinema has always been a formidable competitor. After all, Hong Kong, with a single city, has achieved the second largest position in global film exports. Its profound cultural heritage cannot be ignored. Currently, the decline of Hong Kong cinema, coupled with the urgency of Hong Kong's comeback next year, has created an inexplicable feeling throughout the Hong Kong market. Hollywood aims to break down the barriers to Hong Kong cinema, not only by conquering the market with blockbuster special effects films, but also by seizing the opportunity to attract Hong Kong's outstanding film talent, a strategy also inherent in Hollywood. With the departure of prominent Hong Kong filmmakers like John Woo, Tsui Hark, and Jackie Chan for Hollywood careers, Hong Kong's domestic cinema will inevitably suffer. This is especially true as Hong Kong cinema has lost its largest overseas market, Taipei. Kowloon, Shangri-La Hotel. Aaron and Raymond Chow had lunch together. It seems Jack Chang's influence in Asia is truly unmatched. According to predictions, Police Story 4, A Simple Task will surpass the previous box office of Rumble in the Bronx in Hong Kong. Raymond Chow smiled and shook his head. The Hong Kong market is so small, it's not important at all. The main thing is the overseas market. We still hope A Simple Task can replicate the miracle of Rumble in the Bronx. Rumble in the Bronx grossed $33 million in North America, making it the highest-grossing film starring Jack Chang in the U.S. Super Cop grossed $15 million, Operation Condor $10 million, and films like Firestorm grossed less than $10 million. Raymond Chow certainly hopes A Simple Task will do well this year. Of course, he also has similar expectations for A Good Man, the film Jack Chang is currently filming. Don't worry, Rush Hour will be released in the second half of the year. I have great confidence in this film. If it performs well, Universal will even release a sequel. Furthermore, given Jack Chang's immense influence in Japan, Aaron was determined to ensure that the sequel, Rush Hour 2, would be filmed extensively at Universal Studios Japan. Universal Studios Japan would officially open in early 1999, and Aaron's goal was to ensure that Rush Hour 2 could be released in 1999. Indeed, Jack Chang's influence in Japan was even greater than that of Schwarzenegger and Stallone. He was an excellent choice as the ambassador for Universal Studios Japan. Raymond Chow took a sip of his wine. Rush Hour. We're looking forward to it, too. As the next action actor to break into Hollywood after Bruce Lee, we're all proud of it. Now, some Hong Kong filmmakers are considering going to Hollywood, and with Hong Kong's return next year, many are feeling uneasy. Hong Kong films are becoming increasingly worrying. As a Hong Kong film tycoon, Raymond Chow certainly has a keen eye and a strong sense of the bigger picture. The decline of Hong Kong films is all too obvious. Aaron blinked and spread his hands. It can't be helped. The Hong Kong market is too small to support so many filmmakers. Besides, with the advancement of film technology, Hollywood has the money, the people, the technology, and the market. How can Hong Kong films withstand Hollywood's special effects blockbusters? Is it relying on those shoddy productions churned out every 10 days? In recent years, Hong Kong filmmakers have relied on the Taipei market to make a fortune, but the quality of their films has continued to decline. Now, Hong Kong films are drifting further and further away from the Taipei market. What else can Hong Kong films do? Yes, Hollywood has the most complete film industry in the world, the highest film technology, and the top film talents. It also has the largest film market. Hollywood films are still conquering the world and constantly expanding their market, but Hong Kong films have begun to decline, Zhu Wenhui said, sighed, and a wry smile appeared on his face. Hong Kong is supported by a handful of filmmakers. Director John Woo went to Hollywood first to explore the way, and Tsui Hark followed closely behind. Last year, Hong Kong's top actor Chow Yun-fat also went to Hollywood to join John Woo after filming his last Hong Kong movie Peace Hotel. The Golden Princess Entertainment behind Chow Yun-fat also chose to end its production and distribution business after Chow Yun-fat filmed Peace Hotel last year. Aaron smiled and pointed, "Don't forget the vast market of 1.3 billion people across the border." After Hong Kong's return next year, perhaps Hong Kong films will be able to successfully move north and capture the market. For mainland China, there's always a difference in the proximity of Hong Kong films and Hollywood films. Zhu Wenhui's concerns are certainly justified. After all, mainland China currently only has a quota of 10 imported films with a profit-sharing system. Hong Kong films are also imported films. If they want to enjoy the mainland's profit-sharing system, the best way is to release them as co-productions. In the case of co-productions, Hong Kong films definitely have many advantages over Hollywood. However, the mainland Chinese film market is still very small, and private film companies are not yet allowed to produce and distribute films. Hong Kong filmmakers are also very confused about the mainland. By the way, I heard that Su Guang is also interested in another action actor, Jet Li, Zhu Wenhui suddenly asked. Aaron nodded. Yes, Kung Fu stars still have a huge advantage for Chinese actors trying to break into Hollywood. In Asia, the only Kung Fu star who can be compared to Jack Cheng is Jet Li. Raymond Chow nodded. Jet Li is indeed quite good. We at Golden Harvest worked with him on several of the Once Upon a Time in China series, and he was quite good. Then there were some frictions, and the collaboration ended, and Jet Li set up his own production company, but he also signed a cooperation agreement with Yongsheng Films to help them produce films, and he's currently filming Black Mask for them. Yongsheng Films had invested $60 million in Black Mask and was very ambitious. The original director was Tsui Hark, but Tsui Hark had to prepare the new film The King for Sony Columbia in Hollywood, so Black Mask had to be directed by someone else, and Tsui Hark became the executive producer of this film. Aaron was, of course, aware of Hong Kong Yongsheng Films, which was founded by the Xiong brothers. Aaron smiled and said, Hollywood welcomes film talents from all over the world, regardless of race and skin color. Other film companies may have concerns, but Universal certainly doesn't. As long as you have the ability to support the box office, there will be resources. Racial discrimination in Hollywood is of course serious. But now Aaron's Dawn is the overlord of Hollywood movies. Aaron's will represent box office and profits. Who dares to object? Chapter 403, Just a Small Role. As the world's fourth largest financial center, sixth largest foreign exchange market, and Asia's second largest stock market, Hong Kong's importance is self-evident. Especially with the 1997 return to China approaching, the various conglomerates gathered in Hong Kong are eager to make a move. During his stay in Hong Kong, Aaron clearly sensed this turbulent atmosphere, with British and Chinese entrepreneurs, government officials, and people from all walks of life reacting in different ways. In Tsim Sha Tsui, Universal International Films, China, headquarters, responsible for the sales and distribution of Dawn Universal's films and television productions in the Asia-Pacific region. South Korea and Singapore have been recognized as developed countries by the World Bank. Aaron leaned back on the sofa, reading the Financial Times, and simply smiled. After the Han River miracle of the 1980s, South Korea's economy has indeed grown rapidly. Major chaebols like Hyundai, Daewoo, Samsung, Kia, Ssangyong, and LG are truly impressive. Shortly thereafter, a representative from HSBC paid a special visit to Aaron. Mr. Anderson, good afternoon. I'm Reese Chandler, president of HSBC's Asia-Pacific region. Reese Chandler, a man in his 50s, smiled broadly as he shook Aaron's hand. Oh, Mr. Chandler, what brings you to me? Speaking of which, Shugwang and HSBC didn't seem to have much in common. Well, I heard Mr. Anderson comes to Asia every year, and besides Japan, Hong Kong is a must-visit. I think Mr. Anderson would be more interested in Hong Kong's investment properties. Aaron smiled. It seemed Reese Chandler had come to him specifically to do business. HSBC was now part of HSBC Holdings, and HSBC's strategy in recent years had been to establish a foothold in Asia-Pacific, expand into North America, and establish a presence in Europe and the United States. Hong Kong, indeed, I have a good impression of this place. It is an important international financial center in the world, and its entertainment industry is also extremely developed. I do value this place very much, Aaron said, holding up 2 glasses of wine and handing one to the other party. Mr. Chandler, any good ideas? Reese Chandler took a sip of wine. I know that Dawn's recent focus is Universal Studios Resort, not to mention the domestic ones in the United States, and now the Osaka Universal Studios in Japan is under construction, but I don't know what Dawn thinks of Hong Kong. You know, Hong Kong itself has a population of several million, and it can radiate to Southeast Asia, mainland China, and Taipei. Has Universal Studios ever thought about building a movie theme park in Hong Kong? Aaron took a sip of wine and asked, has Disney contacted Hong Kong yet? Otherwise, Reese Chandler would have brought it up when Dawn was building the Osaka Universal Studios. That's right, Reese Chandler nodded directly. Disney has met with the Hong Kong government, and they seem interested in building a Disneyland. However, with Hong Kong's political situation still uncertain, Disney is biding their time to investigate, so that's how it is. Who would have thought Disney would already be investigating the Hong Kong market? Aaron thought for a moment. Indeed, the Hong Kong market is suitable. However, Universal Studios Osaka, as the first Universal Studios abroad, is our focus. As for the second Universal Studios in Asia, we're not rushing yet. Meanwhile, Media Asia Films in Hong Kong. The company's president, Zhuang Chang, approached Wang Xiuxin with a script. Xiuxin, this is a Stephen Chow script. They're looking for investment. Do you have any ideas? Wang Xiuxin took the script, flipped through it, and asked uncertainly, Stephen Chow, hasn't he returned to Yongsheng Films? 2 years ago, Stephen Chow and his partners formed Color Star Films and invested $60 million to produce A Chinese Odyssey, an adaptation of Journey to the West. However, the 2 A Chinese Odyssey films failed to become a hit during the Lunar New Year holiday, becoming slam dunks. Stephen Chow's first venture quickly failed. Color Star Films closed, and Stephen Chow returned to Yongsheng Films to continue filming. Zhuang Cheng smiled. This year, Stephen Chow and his partners founded Star Overseas, starting a new venture. This, The God of Cookery, is the first film of Star Overseas. Stephen Chow's reputation is immense, and his films have no shortage of investors. However, he currently has a contract with Winston Films. Given the Hun family's status in Hong Kong, many investors are hesitant to invest in Stephen Chow. Stephen Chow worked for the Hun family, and they made a fortune. But if Stephen Chow succeeded in his own venture, he would undoubtedly leave Winston, and wouldn't that offend the Hun family? Zhuang Cheng sought out Wang Xiuxin because of the power behind her. Media Asia Films' majority shareholder is a foreign fund. Especially since the collapse of Next magazine seemed to implicate Wang Xiuxin, and even Peter Lam, who had previously courted Wang Xiuxin, has backed off. With Wang Xiuxin's backing, Zhuang Cheng wasn't afraid at all. He hoped to develop Media Asia into an entertainment conglomerate integrating film and television production and distribution. Having already tasted success with best partners Young and Dangerous, his collaboration with Star Overseas on The God of Cookery would surely lead to further success. Wang Xiuxin pondered, let me think about it. Zhuang Cheng nodded. No rush? This is for the Lunar New Year holiday season early next year, so there's plenty of time. We can take our time. After all, Stephen Chow's situation involves the Xiong family's Yongsheng Film Company. At night, at the villa in Repulse Bay, Zhangjiang Yongsheng Film Company, Aaron smiled. Wang Xiuxin, who was lying on top of him, had just mentioned Stephen Chow's film investment projects. It's okay, just invest, Aaron patted the girl. It's no big deal, and I know Stephen Chow, he's on par with Jim Carrey in the US. Wang Xiuxin reminded him, the owner of Yongsheng Films holds a special place in Hong Kong. He's from a triad family. Aaron shook his head, stroking the girl's smooth, white back. Hey, triads? I even have international mercenaries on my payroll. There's a ton of them in the war-torn areas of Africa and the Middle East. Don't worry, they're just minor characters. Wang Xiuxin's eyes widened. Really? Of course. It's just a movie, not a big deal. What Xiong family? Even if Media Asia didn't invest, Stephen Chow would have financed the film himself. Well, then I'll let Media Asia invest, and then we can ask Golden Harvest to distribute it. Media Asia was now just an investment and production company, without its own theater chain. Golden Harvest had also distributed Young and Dangerous. Anyway, Wang Xiuxin had a good relationship with Golden Harvest. Chapter 404 The Truman Show. After spending over a week in Hong Kong, Aaron took advantage of Yang Gongru finishing filming a TV series and took her on a trip to Japan. They were in the Hakone Onsen Hot Springs in Kanagawa Prefecture. It's so comfortable, and the view is beautiful, Yang Gongru said, leaning against a rock, admiring the snow-capped Mount Fuji in the distance. Yet, I've been here a few times. Aaron felt the warmth of the hot springs, feeling refreshed. Yang Gongru came over to Aaron. You really know how to enjoy yourself. Aaron smiled, picked up the girl, and kissed her, taking in her voluptuous body. Yang Gongru wrapped her arms around Aaron's neck, responding passionately, their lips and tongues entwined in a passionate, sensual embrace. With the official groundbreaking of Universal Studios Japan, Aaron, who had been staying in Japan, returned to the United States before the Oscars. After 3 weeks in theaters, Ace Ventura, The Lost Ark had grossed over $80 million. Jim Carrey's box office appeal was truly astonishing. Burbank, Don's headquarters. Don Steele handed Aaron another script. Aaron, take a look. I'm impressed with this one. The Truman Show, written by Andrew Niccol, tells the story of a company that adopts a baby, names him Truman, and makes him the star of the documentary soap opera. The company builds a small town for him, which functions as a giant studio, where Truman's entire life, from childhood to adulthood, is presented to the audience. The soap opera is a huge success, and ultimately, after discovering something unusual about his life, Truman resolutely leaves the studio. Hiss, Aaron gasped. He knew The Truman Show, a chilling story. Did Peter Weir choose to direct it? Aaron flipped through the script. It was the Australian director of Dead Poets Society. Yes, director Peter Weir has been on hiatus for a few years, and this time he was drawn to the script. Originally, after Andrew Niccol created the plot, producer Scott Rudin spent $1 million to acquire the script. Afterwards, after revisions, director Peter Weir also provided many comments, which led to the current story. Don Steele, who also got the project from Scott Rudin, felt that Aaron would definitely not refuse the script. We must do it. This story is truly shocking. Aaron was speechless. The Truman Show had to be made. Well, Don Steele spread his hands and said helplessly, although The Truman Show is very literary and artistic, it costs a lot of money to build a filming base that meets the requirements of the film, so, producer Scott Rudin and director Peter Weir want a very high budget. They hope to have a budget of $80 million. Aaron was stunned. Even if it is a little difficult to shoot the set, we can just find a suitable city and build some more. There are no action scenes and special effects in it. A budget of $80 million? How big a star will it take? Don Steele shrugged. So, what I mean is that the maximum budget can be $60 million. As for the choice of the male lead, screenwriter Andrew Niccol is optimistic about Robin Williams, but the director is optimistic about Jim Carrey. It turned out that it was director Peter Weir's idea to let Jim Carrey star in The Truman Show. There should be a lot of opposition to using Jim Carrey, right? Aaron couldn't help but ask. Don Steele nodded. Of course. After all, Jim Carrey's image is very special. Everyone must be worried that he won't be able to play this role well, But Jim Carrey's box office appeal makes it worthy of our support for Peter Weir, Aaron said. Jim Carrey still has to shoot Liar Liar, and the preparatory work for The Truman Show also takes time. He probably won't be able to make it this year, Dawn Steele thought for a moment and reminded. In fact, when Peter Weir was revising the script, the prototype character he thought of was Michael Jackson. He believed that Truman, like Michael Jackson, had his life captured by thousands of cameras and exposed to the audience all the time. Michael Jackson is the person closest to Truman in real life. Aaron shook his head and smiled. Could it be possible to let Michael Jackson play the role? Of course not. After all, it is a drama-style art film, which has high requirements for the actor's acting skills. It is not like a movie like Space Jam starring Michael Jordan, which sells characters. Let's give the script for The Truman Show to Jim Carrey first and see what he thinks. Besides, Jim Carrey's salary is too high. It's hard to offer a high salary for an art film like this. Dawn Steele wasn't confident about inviting Jim Carrey to star in The Truman Show either. As the president of Universal Pictures, she was primarily concerned with the commercial return. Jim Carrey's current salary for a film is $20 million. The Truman Show had a $60 million budget, which was easier to recoup, so he couldn't afford a top-tier commercial salary. Aaron waved his hand. Fortunately, this script is great. I'm sure many actors will love it. There are probably many big-name actors who would be willing to take a reduced salary to star in an art film. Look at Bruce Wesley. He didn't care about the salary at all in Pulp Fiction and 12 Monkeys. He just wanted to hone his acting skills. It's not easy for an actor to come across a good script. Nicolas Cage even joined Leaving Las Vegas for free, having already won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama. And with his performance in Leaving Las Vegas drawing much attention at the upcoming Oscars, Nicolas Cage's salary has already increased since starring in Red Dragon. He was already earning $4 million for The Rock, even before Leaving Las Vegas was released. Dawn Steele nodded. I'll discuss this with Scott Rudin and Peter Weir first. As for Jim Carrey, I'll wait until he finishes Liar Liar. After all, Liar Liar is Universal's own production. Okay, we have time anyway. We can schedule The Truman Show for the year after next, Aaron said, then thought, have the lead actors for James Cameron's Titanic been decided yet? We're still deciding, Dawn Steele replied. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 405, Thinness is Beauty. James Cameron has a strong sense of autonomy in his work. Since 20th Century Fox, the main investor, has given James Cameron the lead on Titanic, why would Aaron be so reluctant? On March 25, at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, the 68th Academy Awards ceremony will be held at the Dorothy Chandler Hall at the Los Angeles Music Center. Aaron, meanwhile, took Monica Bellucci to a ball at the Bel Air Hotel. You've got a lot of promotional activity going on for Twister, are you getting used to it? Monica Bellucci nodded. This is my first time participating in a promotion of this scale. Aaron smiled, hugged the sexy woman in his arms, and kissed her. How is it going? You've already filmed several Hollywood productions, so you should be used to the Hollywood work style, right? Previously, when Monica Bellucci came to Hollywood to film Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, she wasn't used to the fast-paced American lifestyle and didn't have many opportunities. But now, things are different. With Aaron's business and status growing, she has no shortage of scripts. It's okay, but Hollywood seems to be a little obsessed with women's figures. Monica Bellucci is originally a sexy beauty with a plump figure, but Hollywood pursues thinness as beauty. She now has to pay attention to her figure. Aaron leaned close to the girl's ear. Okay, you have a great figure, I like it. You are the only one who can talk. Monica Bellucci rubbed against Aaron. Shall we go back to the room to watch the Oscars live broadcast? Aaron nodded. Since the other party is interested in watching, of course he can. At this moment, the TV in the hotel room is broadcasting the Live-Action Short Film Award and the Animated Short Film Award jointly presented by Chinese movie stars Jack Chang and Kareem Jabbar. It's really great. Aaron sat on the sofa, hugged Monica Bellucci, and felt the girl's 34D. Jack Chang and Kareem Jabbar on TV were also very funny. Monica Bellucci smiled and kissed Aaron on the mouth. Rush Hour, which Jack Chang filmed for Universal last year, is about to be released, right? Well, It will be released in the second half of the year. Then, the Art Direction Award was presented by British actress Emma Thompson. After Emma Thompson left the stage, the curtain slowly rose, slowly revealing Christopher Reeve sitting in a wheelchair, which shocked all the guests. Although the news that Christopher Reeve would attend the 68th Academy Awards had been leaked by the TV station in advance, the Oscar organizing committee did a good job of keeping it confidential. "It's really Christopher Reeve?" Monica Bellucci and his arms was also surprised. The news that Superman was on the verge of death last year was very sensational. Christopher Reeve is still so handsome and strong, as if his whole body radiates a light of bravery and happiness, making no one believe that he almost died. After a few seconds of silence, his friends Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep and others in the audience took the lead in standing up and applauding him loudly. Then, all the guests at the scene stood up and began to applaud. Christopher Reeve smiled and gave a speech as a guest. "I saw many warm and welcoming faces in the audience. Christopher Reeve's appearance really made the Oscar scene hot. The organizing committee spent a lot of money to invite him to attend, and the effect was really good. By the way, when is Universal going to shoot the Amazing Spider-Man movie?" Monica Bellucci asked, because ever since Dawn acquired Marvel, all kinds of news have said that they were going to shoot a superhero movie. Aaron shrugged, waiting for the script, and the current technology seems to be a little short of it. Warner Brothers was already preparing for the fourth installment in the Batman franchise, Batman and Robin. Combined with the 4 previous Superman films, the characters of Superman and Batman were world famous. Aaron also wanted to film Spider-Man. After all, he had to establish Marvel Studios' reputation first, and the publicity for the film was strong enough. With such a treasure trove of Marvel Studios, Aaron certainly wouldn't let it tarnish its reputation. Following the Oscars ceremony, Mel Gibson's Braveheart won 5 awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Cinematography. Nicolas Cage won Best Actor for Leaving Las Vegas. Susan Sarandon won Best Actress for Dead Man Walking. Kevin Spacey won Best Supporting Actor for The Usual Suspects. Mira Sorvino won Best Supporting Actress for Non-Powerful Aphrodisiacs. Despite receiving numerous nominations, Emma Thompson, who played the lead actress in Sense and Sensibility, won Best Original Screenplay. "Honey, do you want to go to the Oscar celebration party held by Vanity Fair?" Aaron patted the disheveled Monica Bellucci on his body. At this moment, Monica Bellucci's hair was messy, her clothes were half undressed, and her expression was a little depressed. "No, not going." Monica Bellucci pinched Aaron weakly. "How can I have the energy now?" Aaron smiled. "I have to go. I'll pick you up tomorrow." Monica Bellucci nodded. The Vanity Fair Oscar celebration dinner is a dinner specially prepared for the Oscars by Vanity Fair, an entertainment magazine under Condé Nast. The first one was held 2 years ago and received numerous praises. Later, it was decided to hold it every year on Oscar night. Vanity Fair will invite some big-name stars and celebrities in Hollywood to participate, including winners and nominees of the Oscars. Afterwards, Aaron took a shower and went to the Sunset Tower Hotel in Hollywood, the venue of the Vanity Fair dinner. At this moment, a large number of people from the entertainment industry and fashion news circles have gathered in the star-studded Sunset Tower Hotel. As soon as Aaron came over, he was blocked by a reporter from Vanity Fair. "Mr. Anderson, do you have anything to say about Dawn's performance at the Oscars this year?" After all, Apollo 13 had 9 nominations, but only won 2 technical awards, Best Sound and Best Film Editing. Aaron spread his hands. Didn't Crescent Pictures, a subsidiary of Suzuki, also win 2 important awards, Best Actress and Best Original Screenplay, Sense and Sensibility and A Man Walking? Besides, didn't Suzuki's Forrest Gump sweep the Oscars last year? Suzuki's performance in recent years has been good enough. Chapter 406 The Powerless CEO. Congratulations, Nicholas. Aaron clinked his glasses with Nicolas Cage, who had won the Best Actor Oscar for a low-budget film like Leaving Las Vegas. "Ah, thank you." Nicolas Cage was thrilled. As a member of the Capello family, after changing his last name, he finally had an Oscar in his hands. Aaron smiled and patted Nicolas Cage on the shoulder. "This night belongs to you. Go enjoy your honor and blessings." The Capello family also arrived. Aaron was truly optimistic about Nicolas Cage, a man of both literary and martial talents. After all, Xu Guang had already collaborated with him on 3 films, Phone Booth, The Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, and this year's The Rock, and he was expected to work with him on the upcoming Face Off as well. Soon after, Summer Redstone arrived at the celebration, specifically to celebrate Braveheart winning Best Picture. You young people are still full of energy. Rupert Murdoch arrived and soon sat down with Aaron in the lounge area. Aaron smiled. It's never too late for a man to start a career. Yes, Summer Redstone nodded seriously. I'm 73 years old now. I acquired Viacom when I was 64, and Paramount when I was 70. Not too late at all, Summer Redstone laughed. Aaron took a sip of his wine. He was quite impressed by this media tycoon who came from the Boston Jewish Mafia. He started his career by running the family-owned national entertainment theater chain, and then successively acquired Viacom, Blockbuster, and Paramount. It was no small feat. By the way, what do you think of the movie Braveheart? Summer Redstone suddenly asked. Braveheart is excellent. It has profoundly moved the world. This magnificent epic is filled with sublime and tragic beauty. The dedication to justice and freedom that sheds blood allows audiences to feel the sublime charm of cinematic art. Braveheart was already excellent, and Aaron's words were sincere. It deserved the Best Picture Oscar. It's a shame Braveheart isn't as good as Forrest Gump. Summer Redstone smiled. Old man, I'm going home. Now it's time for you young people. Summer Redstone and his assistant quickly left the Sunset Tower Hotel. For Summer Redstone, Braveheart certainly wasn't as good as Forrest Gump, both commercially and in terms of awards. Forrest Gump was produced and distributed solely by Dawn, while Braveheart was a joint venture between Paramount and 20th Century Fox. A little later, Aaron found Sophie Marceau, who was celebrating Braveheart's award with him. Honey, you conquered the world with your beauty this time. Aaron and Sophie Marceau hugged, unable to contain their laughter. Sophie Marceau kissed Aaron on the cheek, then said with a hint of frustration, besides my beauty, Hollywood always treats me like a vase. The success of Braveheart has only solidified my vase image. Aaron spread his hands. Most beautiful Hollywood women are just vases, which is fine. Sophie Marceau nodded. Anyway, you make a point. Let's go back. The Oscars are hours long, and I'm a little tired. Not only had they sat at the Oscars for hours, but they hadn't stopped by the after party. Then, let's go, Aaron agreed. After all, the Vanity Fair after party was primarily a celebration for Oscar winners. Many people attended more than one celebration, but also several. Meanwhile, Disney President Michael Ovitz and Disney Film Chairman Joe Roth also arrived at the Vanity Fair after party. Woody Allen's film Non-Powerful Aphrodisiac, released by Miramax, Disney's art house label, won Best Supporting Actress. Last year, Woody Allen's film Bullets Over Broadway, also released by Miramax, also won Best Supporting Actress. Michael Ovitz had difficulty getting involved in Disney's film and television business, as Joe Roth simply ignored his management. However, Michael Ovitz, a former agent, wanted to focus on the actors themselves, hoping to break the ice. Michael, the scandal involving Woody Allen and his adopted daughter is not a good thing. Miramax is too closely tied to Woody Allen, and it doesn't fit the Disney image. Joe Roth couldn't help but warn Michael Ovitz after seeing him getting too close to Woody Allen. As a Disney art house label, Miramax, while the Weinstein brothers had the right to operate independently, was limited to developing films with a budget of less than $12.5 million. Anything above that would be reported to Disney's film headquarters. Disney chairman Michael Eisner was also dissatisfied with Miramax's performance, and Harvey Weinstein's recalcitrance only intensified his anger. This, in turn, naturally disliked Miramax and the Weinstein brothers, even Joe Roth, who oversaw Disney's live-action film division. The Untamed grossed only around $25 million at the box office, making little commercial success. Disney's biggest success last year was still its animated films. Pocahontas grossed $140 million in North America and $340 million worldwide, with over 15 million VHS copies sold to date. To put that in perspective, the previously global hit Jurassic Park only sold 17 million VHS tapes. Disney's animated feature films are incredibly profitable, with Beauty and the Beast selling 22 million VHS copies. Of course, Disney's most profitable animated film is undoubtedly The Lion King. Joe, I'm doing this for Disney's own good. Hollywood says we don't understand the art of film. Woody Allen's films released by Miramax always receive rave reviews from critics and win Oscars, don't they? Michael Ovitz felt helpless. He joined Disney to further his career, not to become an idler. Now, he has almost no power at Disney and can't boss anyone around. Joe Roth shook his head. But we can't forget what Disney represents. Disney is a haven for children and families. Do you think it's appropriate to work with a director who is involved in a scandal with his adopted daughter? Michael Ovitz sighed. I understand what you mean. Chapter 407 Funded Members. As the 68th Academy Awards concluded, Christopher Reeve's presence fueled considerable discussion about the Oscars. Braveheart, which won Best Picture and Best Director, was the only film to win Best Picture without an acting award. After acquiring Marvel, Donning delisted the company and split it up, selling off its credit card and sticker businesses. This was done to reduce debt and streamline staff and operations, resulting in the removal of a number of highly compensated Marvel executives. With Marvel Comics publishing shrinking, developing films to boost toy and comic book sales was the best approach. Spider-Man and X-Men are Marvel's most well-known franchises. Universal will focus on these two franchises and intensify preparations. The most important thing is a good script, Aaron said to Dawn Steele at Donning's Universal headquarters in Burbank. We've been preparing for Spider-Man, and the market is really excited. Early preparations began long after Su Guang acquired the rights to Spider-Man, but Aaron hadn't been satisfied with the script. Of course, the filming technology wasn't up to his standards. Warner Brothers is working on a fourth Batman and Robin film, right? Aaron asked. Dawn Steele nodded. They've replaced Val Kilmer with George Clooney, the TV actor who rose to fame on ER. Not only that, but I heard Warner Brothers spent $25 million to get Schwarzenegger to play the villain, Mr. Freeze. Casting top stars in supporting roles has always been a tradition at Warner Brothers and DC, with Jack Nicholson, Marlon Brando, Tom Lee Jones, and Jim Carrey already among them. $25 million, Schwarzenegger, Aaron smiled. Actually, it's not necessary. Superhero movies are mainly about special effects and scenes, and the plot needs to be prepared to be attractive. The requirements for actors are not high. Aaron glanced at Wayne Steele. You have to remember that in superhero movies, actors are there to serve the roles. An actor who matches the hero serves the role he plays, rather than relying on the actor's fame to attract people. What's more, new actors are easier to deal with and more obedient. There will be a Marvel universe in the future, and actors need to sign more contracts with Marvel. Dawn Steele nodded. New Line wants to film Blade. Should we give permission to such a marginal character? New Line wants to give international distribution to Dawn, and at the same time, Aaron thought for a moment and said, that's feasible. Dawn has the international distribution rights, so it's a partnership between Marvel and New Line. Also, Marvel will take 5% of the film's profits, and the toy derivatives will still belong to Marvel. New Line only gets the production rights and North American distribution rights for Blade. Everything else belongs to Marvel, and Marvel will have a hand in the production. After all, they can't let New Line arbitrarily adapt the film, just like the previous Fantastic Four, a completely haphazard adaptation. Besides, New Line doesn't have the international distribution capabilities to begin with. After all, within Time Warner, New Line and Warner Brothers are on equal footing. At this stage, Dawn alone would be a bit slow to quickly build Marvel's profile. It's okay to let other film companies develop such an unknown character. So, what about North American distribution? Aaron shook his head. Forget it. New Line is already a large independent distributor in China. If they're not allowed to distribute a film domestically, they won't come to shoot Blade. In fact, Universal could have shot Blade themselves, but Marvel's next major projects are Spider-Man and X-Men. Universal already has its own blockbusters to develop, and it also needs to support Marvel Studios. It can let Marvel Studios help New Line gain experience developing Blade. Aaron originally had no objection to other film companies developing Marvel Studios, as long as they kept the distribution rights. Obviously, other film companies were not very willing to do so. A company like Carlock, which has no distribution rights but can invest in and produce blockbusters, is unique. Now Carlock is bankrupt. In the afternoon, Aaron arrived downtown. A crowd was protesting the Defense of Marriage Act, recently signed by President Clinton, in Pershing Square. The Doma defined marriage as between one man and one woman, a provision that denied same-sex couples the same tax, insurance, inheritance, and immigration rights as heterosexual couples. Los Angeles Councilwoman Ollie Phillips, who supported legalizing same-sex marriage, asked, Aaron, can't we do anything? Aaron smiled. In the United States right now, out of 535 members of Congress, only 81 have opposed the DOMA bill, and not a single state recognizes homosexuality, let alone legalizes it. Our president also supports it, so what? Even a city as open-minded as Los Angeles could still find some supporters of same-sex marriage, when most other states supported it. Besides, it was only the 1990s, and the Democratic Party was just beginning to gain traction. How could they possibly shake this conservative trend? Ollie Phillips looked at Aaron. Aren't you also pro-homosexuality? Aaron spread his hands. I have no objection. Marriage is a personal matter. I don't care if it's a man marrying a man marrying a man, or a woman marrying a woman, even if it's a man marrying a dog. I have no objection. It's fine as long as they like it, but I can't help with illegalities. Slogans are fine, but actual action is out of the question. Ollie Phillips smiled. Aaron, do all the people with the same financial resources as you do? Aaron looked at him. To become a qualified politician, you have to use all the resources you have. Right now, you're just a Los Angeles County Council member. Next, I'll support you to become a state legislator, then enter government, or run for Congress. It all depends on how far you can go. Ollie Phillips nodded. Aaron's financial support was also intended to pay off in the future. People like her didn't even know how much Aaron had given her. Los Angeles is the second largest city in the country. Its importance is self-evident, and the competition is even greater. If Ollie Phillips wants to continue her upward mobility, she'll need financial resources. Chapter 408 Impressive Image. In the evening, Aaron drove a Jaguar to Santa Monica Beach. It was spring break for college students, and the beach was bustling with activity. Concerts were everywhere, and young men and women were enjoying the beach parties. A moment later, Kate Beckinsale approached him. What? Are you looking for a spring break experience? Just coming to see, Aaron said, and he put his arm around Kate Beckinsale and walked to a nearby bar. Scream grossed $100 million in North America and $70 million overseas. That's a record for a comedy horror film. Is the sequel in the works? Aaron asked, sipping a beer. Kate Beckinsale nodded. The sequel is already in the works. I've signed a contract, and filming will start soon. If nothing goes wrong, it will definitely be released next year. I heard it's scheduled for the spring season. Scream wasn't expensive to produce, after all, because the cast was all new. Although the sequel would have higher salaries, the overall cost wouldn't be much higher. But it was a success. Scream cost $14 million to produce, but it grossed $170 million worldwide. Even with the increased costs for the sequel, Scream 2, it's still a low-budget production. Aaron smiled. So, you should be getting other scripts now, right? Yes, after the release of Scream, I feel like I've gained some fame in Hollywood, and I'm getting quite a few scripts now. Kate Beckinsale is young, beautiful, and in great shape. Now, with the blessing of Scream, which has grossed over $100 million, she's firmly established in Hollywood. Furthermore, Kate Beckinsale holds 300,000 shares of Shugwang stock, making her a multimillionaire in Hollywood. Also, a few days ago, I had a cameo appearance in Gus Van Sant's Good Will Hunting, along with Robin Williams and others. Gus Van Sant's Good Will Hunting has indeed begun filming. Is Kate Beckinsale involved? Aaron truly didn't know. After all, it was a low-budget project, and Aaron wouldn't pay much attention to it. He bought the script from Castle Rock Entertainment and had it developed. Gus Van Sant was slow to film. He was busy with At Any Cost before starting to prepare for Good Will Hunting. I know this movie. The script was adapted by Matt Damon, who plays the male lead, and his friend. His friend also plays a role in the movie. Kate Beckinsale smiled and kissed Aaron on the cheek. Yes, I know. It's Ben Affleck. The script they wrote is really good. Aaron pulled Kate Beckinsale over and sat her in his arms. What do you think of action movies? Can you handle them? In Aaron's mind, Kate Beckinsale's most memorable look was her full-body leather jacket in the Underworld series. She looked cool and sharp, radiant with charm, and her perfect figure was on full display. Action movies, of course I can. I used to be a dancer, so if I want to shoot an action movie, I just need to train for a while. Why, you want me to act in an action movie? Is it something like The Mask of Zorro directed by Catherine Zeta-Jones? Aaron shook his head and kissed the girl on the mouth. You know vampires, right? I'm talking about female vampires, gorgeous and pale, with a sexy figure, sharp and elegant movements, and a tight-fitting suit. Kate Beckinsale thought for a while. Are you talking about clothes similar to Batgirl's? Well, almost, but without an eye mask or something like that, Aaron said. As if he remembered that there seemed to be a role of Batgirl in the fourth Batman and Robin that Warner Brothers Pictures is preparing. In Batman and Robin, Batgirl is played by the young actress Alicia Silverstone. Alicia Silverstone, who is only 20 years old this year, earned $56 million at the box office last year with Paramount's teen comedy Clueless. That evening, the two drove back to Aaron's Bel Air villa. "Aaron, I'm going back to London next," Kate Beckinsale said, lying on top of him in the bedroom bed. "Okay, I'm going to London too. I've got Richard Curtis working on the Mr. Bean movie and Notting Hill, but they're still getting ready," Aaron said, kissing Kate Beckinsale and caressing her. The Mr. Bean movie had been in the works for so long, and Richard Curtis should have finished it by now. As for Notting Hill, it didn't matter if it came out a little later. After all, the Mr. Bean series had a huge audience. Besides, after Dawn acquired MCA Universal, it wasn't until the end of last year that it was fully reorganized. The UK is one of Dawn's key priorities. It's logical for Aaron to visit the UK. "Well, if I'm still in the UK by then, come find me," Kate Beckinsale smiled, covering the man's mouth, their lips and tongues entwined. Aaron hugged the woman tightly, responding enthusiastically. Then, with a sudden turn, he pulled Kate Beckinsale under him. Directed by Tim Robbins and starring Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn, A Man Walking won the Oscar for Best Actress. As word of mouth spread, the North American box office also exceeded $30 million. According to projections, the final North American box office should reach $40 million. The Los Angeles Times stated, "A Man Walking addresses the grave themes of race, the social status of the rich and the poor, and even life and death in American society." The New York Times stated, "A Man Walking is a deeply moving film. Unlike most Hollywood films, which emphasize intense rhythms, rich suspense, and dazzling stars, it uses a down-to-earth approach to delicately depict the journey of a convict soul seeking redemption before death." Because it was produced by Polygram, Crescent Pictures was only responsible for North American distribution. However, because it won the prestigious Academy Award for Best Actress, Polygram also held a large celebration. A North American box office of $30 million might not seem high for Dawn, but it was a different story for Polygram. After all, it was an art house film with a low budget, and $30 million at the box office was impressive. Polygram Pictures, after all, was only a British film company founded a few years ago. Polygram's core business is music. After the Oscars, Polygram began marketing A Man Walking in Europe. Chapter 409 The Getty Family. The Getty Center, nestled in the Santa Monica Mountains in Brentwood, Los Angeles, has opened. J. Paul Getty built the Malibu Museum in Malibu in the 1970s. After Getty's death, the museum inherited a $750 million legacy from his will. In the late 1980s, his estate began construction on a new Getty Center in the Santa Monica Mountains near Brentwood. With a relocation of the Malibu Museum's collection to the newly completed Getty Center, the Getty Center officially opened to the public. California Governor Pete Wilson, U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein, and other prominent California politicians attended the Getty Center's opening. Aaron also brought Jennifer Connelly with him. The Malibu Museum is also being built. It will be renamed the Getty Villa and, along with the Getty Center, form the Getty Museum. Jennifer Connelly smiled. Paul Getty was the first person in the 1950s to have assets exceeding $1 billion, making him the richest man in America. The Getty Oil Company, a renowned California oil family, was also well known. In 1986, 10 years after Paul Getty's death, the Getty family sold Getty Oil, which was acquired by Texaco, for $10 billion. Aaron nodded, deeply wary of the Getty family's influence in California. After generations of operation, the Gettys had leveraged their vast family assets to build a powerful political network. "By the way, Aaron, are you really going to restore the Basilica of St. Vibiana?" Jennifer Connelly inquired. "Of course, I promised Bishop Roger Mahoney, Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Furthermore, I've established the Anderson Charitable Foundation to donate $5 million toward the restoration of St. Vibiana Cathedral. The restored St. Vibiana Cathedral will become a Catholic museum, which will undoubtedly enhance Aaron's social status." That evening, at the banquet, Aaron chatted with Dianne Feinstein. U.S. senators are elected for 6-year terms. Dianne Feinstein won the 1992 by-election to fill the seat vacated by Pete Wilson and was re-elected in 1994. "Some left-wing members of the Democratic Party are dissatisfied with my frequent compromises with Republicans. Dianne Feinstein is a centrist and supports some Republican proposals." Aaron thought for a moment. The next election won't be until 2000, so there's plenty of time. Or, do you want to run for governor of California again? In 1990, Dianne Feinstein ran for the Democratic Party at the California Governor's University, but lost to Republican Pete Wilson. Dianne Feinstein shook her head. Although Pete Wilson won the Republican nomination in this year's U.S. presidential election, but Pete Wilson has no intention of running. Aaron's mouth twitched. Was there any suspense in this year's presidential election? The U.S. economy was developing, unemployment was falling, and government debt was decreasing. With Clinton's current popularity, who could stop him? By the way, internet company representatives, led by Cisco CEO John Chambers, are lobbying Congress to build a new fiber optic network in the United States. You know, President Clinton is very supportive of the internet. In the next few years, America's fiber optic network will probably be as prosperous as America's highways. Aaron nodded. I understand. Then, Aaron whispered, Yahoo will be going public on Wall Street soon. If you're interested, Mom, you can buy some. Attractive technology stocks like Yahoo always give people surprises. Then, Aaron picked up a glass of champagne and walked towards Gordon Getty, the fourth son of Paul Getty. At night, in the villa in Bel Air, Aaron, lying in bed, called Lloyd Benson Jr., asking him to visit Dianne Feinstein sometime. Aaron had supported Dianne Feinstein's first run for the U.S. Senate in California, and since then, she'd been successfully re-elected. He had a good relationship with Aaron, so he was determined to maintain their collaboration. A moment later, after finishing his phone call, Aaron saw Jennifer Connelly, freshly showered, walk into the room. Her alluring, translucent silk nightgown revealed a voluptuous figure. Aaron, Jennifer Connelly said, leaning into Aaron's arms and kissing him. What's up? Aaron stroked the woman's breasts. Is there something you want to talk about? Jennifer Connelly smiled. I starred in 2 romantic comedies, but they didn't seem to be very well received. Ever since starring in the hit film My Best Friend's Wedding, Jennifer Connelly has been offered numerous romantic comedy scripts. That's nothing. Last year, John Singleton's School Clash was released, and I think it got pretty good reviews. It's a film about racial discrimination in American universities, and it's quite educational. It's okay, so I plan to take on more art films to continue honing my acting skills. As for commercial films, I won't focus on them. After all, Jennifer Connelly now has Aaron as her backer, and she also owns 1 million shares of Dawning, so she's not short of money. Of course, no problem. When I have time, I'll help you find a good script, Aaron said, helping Jennifer Connelly sit on him and removing her pajamas. Yeah, okay, next, I'm going to New York. Yahoo is going public soon, I'll go check it out. After that, we're going to London, Aaron said breathlessly, then wrapped his arms around the woman's waist tightly. With the arrival of April, the action thriller Broken Arrow, directed by Chinese director John Woo and starring John Travolta, Christiana Yerry, and Christian Slater, was released. In its opening weekend, Broken Arrow grossed $15.5 million. Broken Arrow continues the thrilling, gun-and-gun action genre, a hallmark of Woo's forte, but boasts a much more logical and narratively refined take on his Hollywood debut, The Hard Knives. Of course, Woo's signature style remains evident throughout the film, with its influx of slow-motion shots and close-ups of characters' faces and movements. The Houston Post commented, Broken Arrow's intense chase sequences, bullet-rattling battles, plane crashes, train collisions, simulated nuclear explosions, and other high-budget set pieces are incredibly realistic, delivering a thrilling adrenaline rush. Shortly after Broken Arrow was released, John Woo received a new project from Dawn Global, Face Off. Chapter 410, Meet Hooli Again. Broken Arrow grossed $11 million in its second weekend, and after 10 days, it had accumulated a total of $32 million. Broken Arrow received strong reviews and was undoubtedly a commercial success. Aaron also came to New York. On April 12, 1996, Yahoo went public. Its stock price soared from $13 to $43 on its first day, bringing Yahoo's market capitalization to $848 million. Aaron had initially invested just $6 million for a 15% stake in Yahoo, and now, after the IPO, he still owned 12.5% of the company. In their Upper East Side villa, Aaron lay in the bathtub holding Christiana Yerry, comfortably feeling her soft body. Honey, are you planning to let John Woo directly develop Face Off? Christiana Yerry asked, somewhat puzzled. Yes, Isn't his Hollywood work, From the Target to Broken Arrow, a clear improvement? Aaron smiled. While those two films hadn't made a huge splash, they were sure to make money. I heard the budget for Face Off is a whopping $80 million. Is it feasible? Christiana Yerry was still a little skeptical. John Woo's budget for The Target was only $23 million, but it rose to $50 million for Broken Arrow. Now, Face Off boasts an even bigger cast and spectacle than Broken Arrow, and the budget has soared to $80 million. Well, because Face Off is going to feature the newly minted Oscar-winning actor, Nicolas Cage, and Nicolas Cage's salary isn't cheap these days. He and John Travolta both make over $10 million. I see, Christiana Yerry said, tilting her neck back and kissing the man. By the way, there's news from The Truman Show too. Director Peter Weir showed the script to Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey himself likes The Truman Show very much, and he really wants to play Truman. However, he has to shoot Liar Liar, and he won't have time until then. Besides, his $20 million salary is also a problem. It is obvious that Tron Global only gave a budget of $60 million for The Truman Show. If director Peter Weir really wants to spend $20 million to invite Jim Carrey, the movie will hardly be made. Aaron rubbed the woman in his arms and asked, "So, what does director Peter Weir think?" Christiana Yerry smiled and played with the hot water in the tub. Director Peter Weir is saying he's very optimistic about Jim Carrey's role and is willing to wait until he finishes filming Liar Liar. Aaron didn't seem too concerned. Let's wait. It shouldn't be a big problem. If Jim Carrey really likes the script, he'll convince his agent to lower his salary. The Truman Show is a serious art film, but Tron's $60 million investment was beyond many people's expectations. It couldn't be helped. Transforming a small town to fit the film setting would be quite expensive. So, are you interested in working with Jim Carrey? Aaron smiled and kissed the woman in his arms. Christiana Yerry shook her head. I'm not funny, and Jim Carrey, I can't help but laugh whenever I see him. Working with him, I doubt I'd be able to finish the shoot. Aaron held his forehead. It was truly frustrating that his woman had lost interest in working with Jim Carrey. While Jim Carrey's work always garnered attention, didn't Cameron Diaz in The Mask become a huge star? Would the average Hollywood actress be scrambling for the chance to work with Jim Carrey? Christiana Yerry turned and kissed the man behind her. Well, honey, I'm not like other female stars, who ask my man to be the famous Hollywood actor Aaron Anderson. Now, if I want to make a movie, I'll take one. If I don't, I won't. Aaron smiled. French women are really lazy. Christiana Yerry turned around and leaned into Aaron's arms, nuzzling him. Don't we still have the French kiss? Well, Sophie Marceau wasn't exactly ambitious, but she was definitely more ambitious than Christiana Yerry. Perhaps, after managing Victoria's Secret models, Christiana Yerry's interest in acting has waned. The next evening, Aaron attended a ball at the JW Marriott Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. There, Aaron met Michael Ovitz, the president of Disney. Compared to his former high-spirited days running CAA, Michael Ovitz now seemed more sullen after becoming the president of Disney. What a shame, Aaron shook his head. It was hard to judge Michael Ovitz, selfish, arrogant, and shameless, but he certainly had talent. Choosing to join Disney and abandon his CAA career wasn't a right or wrong decision, it was simply a choice. Hi, Aaron. Suddenly, a tall, voluptuous woman came over and hugged Aaron. Oh, it's you. Long time no see. It was Elizabeth Hurley, the glamorous British actress he hadn't seen in a while. Yet, it's been a while. Elizabeth Hurley kissed Aaron on the cheek. You actually gave me 200,000 shares of Dawn. Aaron smiled. Just a thought for you. You seem to be doing well lately, thank you, for that role in Forrest Gump. After starring in Forrest Gump, Elizabeth Hurley became a Bond girl in MGM's GoldenEye. Later, she starred opposite Jim Carrey in Kingsman, The Golden Globes, which will be released this summer. Now, Elizabeth Hurley had landed the lead role in a comedy script, Austin Powers, a parody of several James Bond films from the early 1960s, featuring irony and exaggeration. Soon after, Elizabeth Hurley dragged Aaron to the upstairs hotel bathroom. After a passionate kiss, the disheveled Elizabeth Hurley crouched down. Hurley, Aaron said, leaning against the wall, stroking Elizabeth Hurley's hair. He looked at the woman before him, a bit dazed. After a while, Elizabeth Hurley washed her face at the sink and asked, "You're going to England? Do you want me to come with you?" Aaron smiled and shook his head. "I'm just going there for a few days. I'll be back soon, okay?" Elizabeth Hurley said, gathering her clothes. Wait, let's go to my hotel together, Erin nodded. Let's get back to the ball first. Chapter 411, a terrible British movie. At the dawning UK studio offices in Buckingham, England, Richard Curtis sat nearby, waiting for Erin to review the script for M.R. Bean's Catastrophes, adapted by Rowan Atkinson and others. It's quite good. I think we should start filming as soon as possible, Erin said after reading the script, becoming increasingly satisfied with producer Richard Curtis. Last year, Dawning acquired MCA and spent most of its time integrating Universal's assets, while Europe was proceeding simultaneously. Production was indeed on hold. Understood. The pre-production work for M.R. Bean's Catastrophes is complete. I'll assemble the crew and begin filming as soon as possible, Erin nodded. Many in the UK are Mr. Bean fans and are very supportive of the film adaptation. Schedule it for release next summer. After M.R. Bean's Catastrophes concludes, we'll start work on the romantic film Notting Hill. Shortly after Richard Curtis left, Catherine Zeta-Jones arrived at Erin's office. News has come in that James Cameron's new film, Titanic, has confirmed its lead actors and actresses. They're both newcomers, Leonardo DiCaprio from the United States and Kate Winslet from the United Kingdom. They've both worked with Dawn before, Catherine Zeta-Jones said affectionately as she sat on Erin's lap. Erin hugged the girl in his arms and kissed her. Sure enough, Leonardo DiCaprio filmed Romeo and Juliet for Dawn Crescent, which will be released in the second half of this year, and Kate Winslet gave an excellent performance in Sense and Sensibility, which was released at the end of last year. They say James Cameron likes sturdy women. It seems that's true, Erin couldn't help but smile. Kate Winslet is a voluptuous beauty. Catherine Zeta-Jones also smiled. Is that why you chose Kate Winslet? Perhaps, Erin said, looking at the beautiful Catherine Zeta-Jones in his arms. Her combination of classicism and sensuality was quite suitable. That evening, Catherine Zeta-Jones drove Erin straight to London in a vintage Aston Martin DB5. I heard there was a really good movie released in the UK recently, and it's received rave reviews from the British media, right? Erin suddenly asked as the car entered London. Yes, it was released earlier this year, directed by Danny Boyle, a low-budget British independent film called Trainspotting. It's based on the novel of the same name by Scottish author Evan Welsh. Upon its release, it caused a huge sensation in the British film industry. As one of Britain's most representative women, Catherine Zeta-Jones was certainly well aware of these matters. Trainspotting depicts the degenerate lives of a group of drug-addicted youth in Edinburgh, Scotland. Its coolly satirical tone, realistic narrative, and interwoven black humor, combined with its modern sound and visuals, have made it a classic among alternative films. Furthermore, Trainspotting meticulously depicts and expresses the high of heroin use. The film's pervasive depravity, values, and self-consciousness sparked significant public attention and debate, making it a focal point upon its release. After returning to his villa in London's Hyde Park, Erin specially had a videotape of Trainspotting delivered. The film is only an hour and a half long, and after watching it, Erin couldn't help but exclaim, no wonder director Danny Boyle is considered the rebel leader of British cinema. It feels a bit like Quentin Tarantino. Trainspotting depicts a real-world issue, following the angry young men of the 1960s and 1970s. The mental collapse of young people is now evident across Britain, Europe, and even the world. The Times commented, Trainspotting is the most moving film yet for teenagers, even bringing the dissolute and helpless to tears. Compared to their angry predecessors, today's lost youth are more decadent and, in a sense, more rational. While they still have a conscience, they've given in to self-degradation. Quentin Tarantino? You think highly of Danny Boyle. Catherine Zeta-Jones poured 2 glasses of wine and approached. The sudden release of Pulp Fiction practically made Quentin Tarantino world famous. Trainspotting was certainly good, but its audience was too small. Unless Danny Boyle could deliver another great film like Quentin Tarantino did after Reservoir Dogs, Erin took a sip of his wine. The fact that British films are lagging is a reality. Now we have directors like Danny Boyle, that's a good thing. British films? Erin himself didn't even know what a truly British film was. Is the dominance of Hollywood a boon or a curse for British films? They're both English-speaking, so at least British films have a natural affinity with Hollywood. However, facing the towering Hollywood landscape, British films can't stand out like French art-house films. However, the British film industry is also highly developed and well-established. It's also the country with the most Hollywood filming locations, After Canada, British directors, actors, behind-the-scenes crews, and various technical personnel are plentiful, meeting Hollywood's filmmaking needs. By the way, our MGM preparing a new Bond sequel, Aaron, glass in hand, walked to the window, gazing at the villa garden in the night sky. Yes, the UK has officially announced it. The new version is called Tomorrow Never Dies, and it's set in Asia, and the Bond girl is a Chinese actress, and much of the story takes place in Hong Kong. The 007 series is a national film franchise in the UK, and every Bond film has captured the attention of British audiences. Tomorrow Never Dies, Hong Kong, Aaron smiled. Sure enough, the actress in question was Michelle Yeoh. By the way, Martin Campbell, the director of the previous film, seems to have said he doesn't want to do a sequel, so he's quitting directing Tomorrow Never Dies. Last year's GoldenEye was a critical and box office success, and director Martin Campbell's contribution is invaluable. The 007 series is currently MGM's most profitable film, so the Seagram Group will surely take it seriously. Let's go to the set of The English Patient tomorrow. Aaron downed his drink. The crew was assembled at the end of last year, so filming should be wrapping up soon. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 412, Plane Crashes into Hotel. The English Patient is written and directed by rising British director Anthony Minghella, based on the award-winning novel of the same name by renowned author Michael Ondaatje. The film stars Ralph Fiennes, Juliette Binoche, Willem Dafoe, and Kristen Scott Thomas. Aaron highly values Ralph Fiennes, who played the lead actor in Schindler's List, playing a German officer, and later in Red Dragon, The Silence of the Lambs. With The English Patient, Fiennes has collaborated with Aaron on 3 films. Saul Zaentz, producer of The English Patient, is the same person who sold the rights to the Lord of the Rings series. In the studio office, Saul Zaentz handed Aaron a cup of coffee. By the way, Aaron, it seems the director is inquiring about the rights to adapt The Lord of the Rings. Aaron was stunned. Oh, someone wants to adapt The Lord of the Rings, Saul Zaentz smiled. A New Zealand horror director, a nobody, Aaron thought for a moment. If it was a New Zealand horror director, could it be Peter Jackson? Peter Jackson now made low-budget horror films in Europe. Adapting The Lord of the Rings had always been considered impossible. The late author, J.R.R. Tolkien, believed so too. Hollywood filmmakers felt the same way. The world of the Lord of the Rings novels was too vast, and the grand scenes were difficult to film. Don doesn't seem to have received any proposals for adapting The Lord of the Rings. Aaron had indeed not received any news from Peter Jackson about adapting The Lord of the Rings, or perhaps it had been received but never made it to his desk. Oh, he just made a horror film for Sony last year, which is considered a Hollywood breakthrough. Perhaps Don will receive his proposal soon, Saul Zaentz smiled. He didn't really think anyone could adapt the Lord of the Rings series, but if Aaron Anderson wanted to try, he'd definitely support him. After all, Aaron Anderson had paid a fortune to purchase the rights to the Lord of the Rings, so he certainly wouldn't just haphazardly adapt it and release a shoddy product. Aaron nodded. If it's feasible, at least get the script done first. The distribution rights for The Hobbit are held by MGM United Artists. If Dawn develops it, it'll definitely be the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The main reason is that the Lord of the Rings trilogy is long enough, while The Hobbit is too short. That evening, at London's Isabel Club, Aaron and Catherine Zeta-Jones enjoyed London's nightlife together. Aaron, did you know? The British royal court has officially declared the marriage of Prince Charles and Princess Diana to be over. Prince Charles and Princess Diana had been married for 15 years, but they had announced their separation years ago. Aaron lowered his head, kissed Catherine Zeta-Jones in his arms, and smiled. The private lives of European royals are worse than each other. As for the British royal family, I don't even want to talk about it. Haven't they had enough scandals in recent years? Prince Charles, Prince Andrew, and their 2 princesses have had countless lovers. Princess Diana, beloved by the British people, has had 7 known lovers. Catherine Zeta-Jones put her arms around Aaron's neck. That's the royal family. A moment later, Aaron's phone rang. It was Etheline Beckett calling from New York. With a 7-hour time difference between the UK and the Eastern Time Zone of the United States, it was afternoon time in New York. Boss. John Woo is very satisfied with the script of Face Off and is very willing to direct it. He also agrees with the choices of Nicolas Cage and John Travolta for the male lead. Aaron smiled, then prepare for it as soon as possible. I hope this movie can be released next year. Well, it's like this. When director John Woo was promoting Broken Arrow in Las Vegas, he accidentally learned that the Sands Hotel was going to be demolished and rebuilt, so he wanted to add a scene of a plane crashing into the Sands Hotel in the movie. Hearing what Esther Beckett said on the phone, Aaron was stunned for a moment, and then asked, "Is it difficult?" As for filming, it's actually not difficult. The main thing is that we need to negotiate with the Sands Hotel to let us shoot before the hotel is demolished. Boss, maybe you can talk to Mr. Sheldon Adelson, the owner of the Sands Hotel, about this request. Aaron thought about it. Okay, I will go to Las Vegas as soon as possible to talk to Sheldon Adelson and let director John Woo form the crew of Face Off first. The plane crashed into the Sands Hotel? After hanging up the phone, Aaron couldn't help but smile. This scene was truly steamy. There hadn't been anything like this during the filming of Con Air. However, with the Las Vegas Sands being demolished this year, this was a great opportunity. Returning to his seat, Aaron embraced Catherine Zeta-Jones and stroked her thigh. "Will you come with me to Las Vegas?" "Sure. I have to go back to Hollywood to film anyway, so I can spend a few days in Las Vegas." Catherine Zeta-Jones had no objection, as she spent a significant amount of time in the US these days. With that, she initiated a passionate kiss with Aaron. The Isabel Club is a highly private, upscale London club often frequented by political and business figures, entertainment and sports stars, and members of the royal family. Soon, 5 young, sexy girls suddenly appeared on stage and began performing. The Spice Girls. Aaron heard the 5 people on stage introduce themselves as the girl group The Spice Girls, a new girl group. Catherine Zeta-Jones leaned into Aaron's arms and kissed him. "Let's go home." It was clear that Catherine Zeta-Jones didn't care at all for the girl group on stage. Aaron smiled and nodded, already knowing that this was the Spice Girls, the group that would soon take the world by storm. Indeed, David Beckham's future wife, Victoria, was among them. However, the British Spice Girls were completely out of Aaron's league. Afterward, Aaron and Catherine Zeta-Jones left the Isabel Club and prepared to return to their Hyde Park villa. Meanwhile, Aaron had to quickly arrange a trip to Las Vegas to meet Sheldon Adelson. Chapter 413 Sands Entertainment. East of Las Vegas, on the border of Arizona and Nevada, lies Lake Mead, a massive reservoir formed by the Hoover Dam on the Colorado River. As the largest man-made reservoir in the United States, Lake Mead not only provides fresh water for Las Vegas but also boasts stunning scenery. At a resort hotel on Lake Mead, Aaron and Sheldon Adelson sat together on the balcony, admiring the beautiful view. The Sands Hotel will be demolished in the second half of this year. If you want to film, you'd better hurry. Sheldon Adelson had no objection to Su Guang's plan to use the hotel for a film shoot. At least it would promote the new entertainment city. Aaron nodded and changed the subject. "I heard Mr. Adelson is still raising funds for the Venetian Casino." Sheldon Adelson smiled. "Aaron, are you interested? My Venetian Resort Hotel is a large-scale integrated entertainment complex integrating gaming, hotels, entertainment, and dining. The investment is high, and the future returns will be high. For $200 million, I can give you 10% of the Venetian." Aaron took a sip of whiskey and glanced across at Sheldon Adelson. It seemed the money from the soft drinks acquisition of the Las Vegas Computer Expo and the Sands Expo wasn't enough. "Let me think about it." Sheldon Adelson nodded. "Then have a good few days in Las Vegas and experience the charm of the City of Desire." After Sheldon Adelson left, Aaron leaned back on the sofa and poured himself a glass of wine. So he was looking to raise funds from him. The Venetian Casino Resort was truly magnificent. $200 million for a 10% stake. The Venetian Casino was estimated to cost around $1.5 billion and take about 3 years to build. Investing $200 million for a 10% stake in the Venetian wasn't bad at all. After all, surely Sands Entertainment Group would have more than just one Venetian in the future? 2 days later, Aaron and Sheldon Adelson reached an agreement in Las Vegas to invest $200 million in Sands Entertainment Group, a 10% stake. "Aaron, this investment is definitely worth it." Sheldon Adelson was excited after signing the contract. Aaron nodded. Sheldon Adelson had only been in the gaming industry for a short time, having only acquired the Sands in 1989. Compared to Kirk Kerkorian of MGM Grand and Steve Wynn, who managed the Mirage and Treasure Island, Sheldon Adelson seemed like a newcomer. Wynn Resorts is building the new Bellagio Resort and Casino, and it should open before the Venetian, Aaron said. Sheldon Adelson was confident. Don't worry, Aaron. How can the Bellagio compare to my Venetian? Everyone will be astounded when the Venetian opens. Aaron looked at Sheldon Adelson and simply nodded. No one who runs a casino hotel is a simple character. They have connections in both the black and white worlds. Sheldon Adelson himself came from the Jewish Mafia of Boston. The Italian Mafia, Jewish gangs, and Chicago gangs in Las Vegas are all intertwined. Last year's Universal release of Casino was just the tip of the iceberg. Aaron wanted returns. A $200 million cash investment was no small sum. If Sheldon Adelson couldn't deliver the return he deserved, Aaron would make sure the Venetian was gone. At night, in the VIP room of the Treasure Island Hotel, Aaron sat at the table playing Texas Hold'em. His $150,000 in chips had been reduced to just over $20,000. Aaron, you lost again. Catherine Zeta-Jones came over at some point, kissed Aaron on the cheek, and sat down. Aaron just smiled. No wonder those gamblers are willing to ruin their families just to gamble. That feeling is really addictive. Aaron snapped his fingers, and the waiter brought 2 glasses of champagne. He casually tossed a $500 chip over. Catherine Zeta-Jones smiled without saying anything, then took a sip of the champagne. Those slot machines out in the lobby are kind of fun. Slot machines. Las Vegas had a lot of slot machines, and every casino was filled with them. Americans really loved playing slot machines. Let's go. This is getting boring, Aaron said, standing up and tossing his remaining $5,000 chip to the dealer. It's yours. The dealer took the chips. Ah, thank you, sir. In the penthouse suite of the Treasure Island Hotel, Aaron, sprawled across Catherine Zeta-Jones's back, breathlessly asked, "Are you going to the Cannes Film Festival next month?" "Yeah, I am." Catherine Zeta-Jones leaned against the glass, admiring the Las Vegas nightscape. "Are you going too?" "No, I'm going to New York next," Aaron asked, kissing the woman on the mouth, holding her soft body. Suddenly, Aaron invested $200 million in Sands Entertainment, completely depleting the cash he had raised from Dawn's IPO. Back in New York, the Dawn Center in Times Square had just finished topping out. By the end of the year, Universal Pictures headquarters would be ready to move out of Rockefeller Center. The 1995-96 NBA regular season concluded. The Houston Rockets finished 4th in the Western Conference, ahead of the Seattle Supersonics, San Antonio Spurs, and Utah Jazz. Behind them were the Los Angeles Lakers, Portland Trail Blazers, Phoenix Suns, and Sacramento Kings. First-round game against the Los Angeles Lakers, Aaron leaned back in his chair in Dawn's office on the west side of Lower Manhattan, appearing nonchalant. Jack Wells sat on the sofa across from him, sipping whiskey. The Houston Rockets would definitely have no trouble against the Los Angeles Lakers. The Chicago Bulls were very strong this year. They won 67 regular season games, the most in the league. The Seattle Supersonics, who were first in the Western Conference, had 64 wins. As one knows one's own business, Jack Wells understood that if the Houston Rockets wanted to win the championship this year, they would need better luck. 67 wins, Aaron nodded. It would be nice if it wasn't 72. Without Dennis Rodman, the Bulls still had weaknesses. Elijah Wan's contract expires next year, and this renewal won't be cheap, Jack Wells warned. He knew Aaron was unhappy with the Rockets' older players, but Elijah Wan had just helped the Rockets win 2 championships. He still had immense dominance inside, so he couldn't afford to send him away, could he? Let's wait until the playoffs are over before we consider it. Chapter 414 An Accident with Naomi. With the arrival of the summer movie season in May, the NBA playoffs are in full swing. Ace Ventura, The Lost Ark has grossed $100 million in North America and $200 million worldwide. At Universal's celebration party at the Gramercy Hotel in Manhattan, Aaron clinked glasses with Ron Steele. Jim Carrey's box office appeal is truly impressive. Yeah, no wonder Sony offered him a top-tier salary of $20 million for Kingsman. Don Steele was also amazed. Now Universal has offered him $20 million to star in the comedy Liar Liar. It's worth it. Is Peter Weir's The Truman Show still waiting for Jim Carrey's schedule? Yes, Jim Carrey read the script and loves the role. He's willing to take a pay cut to join, Aaron nodded. Jim Carrey's recent work has been dominated by these kind of cheesy, nonsensical comedies, which has solidified his image. Forget his acting skills, no one would even consider him capable of anything other than comedy. A work with profoundly realistic implications like The Truman Show offers a golden opportunity for a transition and a chance to prove oneself to the world. I've already made arrangements with the Las Vegas Sands Hotel. The Face-Off crew can go there to shoot scenes in the second half of this year. The Sands will be demolished in November, Aaron reminded him. Got it. I'll have John Woo go to Las Vegas to secure the filming location. With an $80 million budget, Face-Off is a true action blockbuster. A short while later, Aaron met a slender, blonde woman at the banquet. It was none other than Naomi Watts. The Rock was about to be released, and Naomi Watts, along with director Michael Bale and leading actors Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage, was promoting the film. M.R. Anderson, good evening, Naomi Watts smiled, expressing her anticipation for the upcoming action blockbuster The Rock. After all, her starring role in Tank Girl last year wasn't a huge hit. Oh, it's you, Naomi. I heard you did a great job in The Rock. The director and producers all gave you positive reviews for your professionalism. Some actors from the UK and Australia are simply more professional than Native American actors. Their solid acting skills are truly unmatched by the average American actor. Even Nicole Kidman, long considered a bit of a showgirl, has been performing well in serious roles in recent years. Thank you. This is what I'm supposed to do. Naomi Watts, a newcomer to Hollywood, was naturally thrilled to receive Aaron Anderson's praise. Aaron thought for a moment and said, David Fincher is preparing a thriller and suspense film called The Game. The chosen male leads are Michael Douglas and Sean Penn, and he needs a new and mature actress. I can recommend you. The Game is produced by Polygram Films, and Polygram is also planning to distribute it in North America and the UK, with an investment of $50 million. It is currently Polygram's largest investment. Shu Guang is responsible for other overseas markets. David Fincher, Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. Naomi Watts was so surprised that she was speechless. Is this true? Aaron looked at Naomi Watts and seemed to be shaking with excitement. Aaron shrugged. Of course. Suspense. I think it suits you. Naomi Watts looked at Aaron. I don't know how to thank you enough. If possible, I'd like to buy you a drink. Aaron smiled and then reached out to lift the girl's chin. Okay, inside the car near Gramercy Park. Aaron embraced Naomi Watts and kissed her passionately. The disheveled Naomi Watts hugged Aaron tightly, breathing rapidly. Soon, Naomi Watts leaned over, and Aaron leaned back in the seat, stroking the girl's blonde hair, enjoying her service. Bang! Suddenly, Aaron moved, his foot on the accelerator, and the car rushed forward, crashing into the car in front. Aaron and Naomi Watts both groaned in the car, but a woman screamed from the car in front. There's a crash. Someone's involved. Naomi Watts looked up at Aaron, her face flushed. Aaron took a deep breath and, while sorting his clothes, said, I'll go check. After getting out of the car, Aaron walked to the front. A used Ford had been hit by Aaron. A young woman sat in the passenger seat, her head bleeding, having probably hit the steering wheel. Hey, are you okay? The woman in front sat up, shook her head, felt around, found blood, and stumbled out of the car. Aaron went to support her, then pulled out his phone to call his bodyguard. You're bleeding. Let's go to the hospital. Aaron looked at the woman. The blood seemed to be running down her face. Was it that serious? The woman said, holding onto the car with one hand. I was just napping on the steering wheel. How did you crash into me? This is a parking lot, boss. Aaron's bodyguards were nearby and quickly arrived. Aaron explained the situation and ordered them to take her to the hospital. Aaron, naturally, had a lawyer to handle the rest of the situation perfectly, so he didn't bother worrying about it. He just remembered accidentally hitting the accelerator, not hard enough, so it shouldn't be a serious injury. Afterward, Aaron took Naomi Watts back to his duplex on the Hudson River on the High Line. After Aaron's bodyguards took the injured woman to the hospital, they called Aaron's personal lawyer to report the incident. The next morning, at a private hospital in Manhattan, a middle-aged woman came to a room and looked at her daughter lying on the hospital bed. Charlize, are you okay? I'm fine. The doctor said the injury is not serious, it's just a broken forehead, and a lot of blood has been lost. After a full body check, there is no big problem, but they want me to stay in the hospital for a few days for observation, and they also said that there will be no scar on the forehead. The middle-aged woman breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, Mom. Someone accidentally hit my car last night, and I happened to be sleeping on the steering wheel, so I hit my head. It's okay, don't worry, and a lawyer just came to me and told me that he will bear all the expenses. And my income during the recovery period will also be subsidized, but I want to be discharged as soon as possible. There is nothing wrong with my body." The middle-aged woman's face changed. "Why do you want to be discharged?" The doctor said to stay in the hospital for observation. The woman on the bed was very helpless. "Mom, I have a good opportunity to be a heroine now, and I can't miss it." Chapter 415 Charlize Theron. "Aaron, if you need anything, call me anytime." Around noon, Naomi Watts kissed Aaron on the cheek and said with a smile. Aaron, leaning back on the sofa, nodded and stroked the woman's thigh. "Wait, the crew of Polygram's The Game will call you." The film stars Michael Douglas and Sean Penn, and the lead actress's role isn't particularly significant. With Aaron's recommendation, David Fincher certainly wouldn't refuse. Naomi Watts bit her lip, looking alluring. "Well, I'm leaving now, go ahead." In the afternoon, Aaron arrived at the Dawn Pictures offices in the West End. A moment later, Aaron called Christiana Yeri. "Is the matter from last night settled?" "Well, it wasn't a big deal. The woman wasn't seriously injured. She just had a cut on her forehead, so she bled quite a bit. The hospital gave her some time to recuperate, so there won't be any scars. She was paid $200,000 and signed a confidentiality agreement." Aaron's lawyer acted quickly, and no information leaked. "Well, that's it," Aaron said, not caring much in the first place. At this time, Christiana Yeri suddenly smiled. "Aaron, the woman you accidentally bumped into last night is also a Hollywood actor, but she is just a newcomer. She has participated in several low-cost productions and was making a fuss about being discharged from the hospital this morning." Aaron was stunned. "Why? Isn't it to pay for her hospitalization expenses?" Christiana Yeri shrugged. "She seems to have won the leading role in a movie, The Devil's Advocate, invested by Warner Brothers. The leading actors are Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. I heard that Keanu Reeves took the initiative to reduce his salary in order to have the opportunity to work with Al Pacino and asked the crew to invite him. The producer and director invited Al Pacino several times before he agreed." Aaron raised his head. "So, because of the injury, it is equivalent to losing the role?" "Yes, The Devil's Advocate is about to start shooting. How could the crew delay the progress because of a new actress? By the way, what's the woman's name?" Last night, when Aaron was supporting the woman, her face was covered in blood. How could he tell who she was? "Charlize Theron, South African, with only a mother, 21 years old, used to be a model, then got into the film industry. Last year, she was in the filming of Tom Hanks's film, Unstoppable." Aaron couldn't help but blink as the woman finished. "Charlize Theron? A beautiful South African diamond. Well, Charlize Theron's family wasn't easy. A few years ago, her mother shot and killed her alcoholic father. Then she traveled around Europe and finally came to America." Aaron knocked on the table. "She's the lead actress in The Devil's Advocate, almost. I asked around, and it seems like she's about to sign a contract. The Devil's Advocate needs a sexy beauty with extensive nudity and sex scenes, but the lead actress role is too attractive for newcomers like them." Christiana Yeri spread her hands. "Okay, I got it." Aaron didn't expect that the person he bumped into would be Charlize Theron. "I can only say that Charlize Theron's luck is really bad." The next day, Aaron was fine and went to the hospital where Charlize Theron was to visit her. "Are you Mr. Aaron Anderson?" Charlize Theron, sitting on the bed in the ward, looked incredulous. Aaron nodded, sat on the chair, picked up an apple and started to eat. "Want some?" "Thank you, I'm not hungry." Charlize Theron spread her hands. "There's nothing serious with my body, I just have some cuts on my forehead, and the doctor said it's nothing serious. Besides, Mr. Anderson has already given me a large compensation, so I can be discharged directly from the hospital now." The 21-year-old Charlize Theron is full of youthful charm, but she does not have the temperament and aura of the future. Aaron asked casually, "I heard that you are also an actor." Charlize Theron nodded. "I just transitioned from a model. Our Warner Brothers thriller The Devil's Advocate going to ask you to play the leading role." Charlize Theron lowered her head. "My agent said I have great hopes." "So, you want to be discharged from the hospital?" Charlize Theron nodded. "It's not easy for a newcomer to have such an opportunity. I don't want to miss it." Aaron looked at the other party. "You have a head injury now, so you should rest for a while. Besides," Aaron said, pointing to his forehead, "I have to wait for recovery here." As for The Devil's Advocate, the main characters are also Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. And the female characters are just sexy vases. They contribute a few nude and large-scale sex scenes, and there are no opportunities to perform. Charlize Theron lowered her head and said nothing, mainly because she didn't dare to refute, but she was a new actor, and she finally got the role of the heroine. How could she be willing to give it up? Aaron smiled and said, "Since I accidentally bumped into you, I have to give you some compensation." Charlize Theron looked up and said, "Mr. Anderson has already given a $200,000 is enough for my mother and I to use for a long time. We are actually very satisfied." "Two choices," Aaron said, holding up a finger. "First, I can help you arrange a heroine for a movie. Don't worry, I won't let you shoot those large-scale works." He held up a second finger and said, "Second, you should take good care of your injuries first. I will give you one of my business cards, you decide which one to choose." Charlize Theron looked at the man in front of her in disbelief. This was Aaron Anderson, the Hollywood entertainment tycoon. "I want a business card of Mr. Anderson." As for why she didn't use Aaron Anderson to help arrange a heroine for a play, Charlize Theron believed that being able to have an intersection with the other party was the most important thing. After all, Charlize Theron was not in good condition at the moment. Even if she went to act in a movie, it would be difficult for her to perform very well. "After starring in this movie, I stopped interacting with Aaron Anderson, but having his business card made all the difference." "You used to be a ballet dancer." "Yes, but after I injured my knee, I quit the dance class." Aaron nodded. "Recently, Broadway restaged the musical Chicago, which I think is pretty good. If you have time, you can go and see it too." Chapter 416 The Decline of Musicals. After Aaron Anderson left, Charlize Theron, sitting on her bed in the hospital ward, stared at the business card in her hand, a bit dazed. She was just a nobody, and she didn't know if it was right or wrong to leave it. Aaron Anderson had just said that he could help her get a role, no matter what the project was, but it would be the female lead. But if she chose this card, even if he ignored her in the future, she would have no recourse. Well, thankfully, Mr. Anderson paid $200,000 in compensation. $200,000 was a huge sum for Charlize Theron these days. Chicago. Thinking about the reminder that he had left, Universal must be planning to adapt this musical. The musical Chicago is based on a play of the same name by Chicago Tribune reporter M.D. Wiggins from the 1920s. It tells the story of Rosie Hart, a chorus singer who dreams of stardom, who is imprisoned for murder and then exonerated. It was adapted for film in the 1920s and 1940s, but in the 1970s, Broadway legend Bob Fosse adapted it into the darkly humorous, jazz-inspired musical Chicago, which became a renowned hit. This year, a revival of Chicago opened on Broadway to rave reviews. Aaron has already approached Universal about a film adaptation of Chicago. Musicals have always held a significant place in Hollywood. While musicals may be declining, there's still a market for them. Manhattan, Upper East Side. Aaron was sitting on the sofa in the living room. Christiana Yerry came over, sat in the man's arms and kissed him. "Did you go to visit the woman named Charlize Theron?" "Yeah, there's nothing wrong with her body." "That's good. There won't be any trouble in the future. Let her play an important supporting role in Scream 2. After all, because of this injury, Charlize Theron did lose the role in The Devil's Advocate. Anyway, Scream 2 will start shooting in a few months, and it's not a bad idea to let Charlize Theron participate in it," Aaron said, reaching out and stroking the thigh of the girl in his arms, feeling the mature beauty of Christiana Yerry. "Is there something you want to talk to me about?" "Well, it's like this. Director Paul Verhoeven wants to adapt Starship Troopers by American science fiction master Robert Heinlein. The adaptation rights of the novel are in the hands of Sony, and Sony also supports Paul Verhoeven's adaptation, but Paul Verhoeven wants a budget of over $100 million. He wants to create a passionate science fiction epic. Sony wants to find other film companies to cooperate in investment and give up the international distribution rights. Aaron smiled. Paul Verhoeven can actually get a $100 million investment. Showgirls, which was released last year, was unanimously criticized by the media. The male lead didn't even want to acknowledge the movie, and the heroine's career was directly ruined by this movie before it even took off. Starship Troopers was published in 1959 and won the 1960 Hugo Award, the World Science Fiction Award. The novel has a large audience, so Mr. Tom Rothman is asking about your opinion. After all, director Paul Verhoeven has a track record of hits like RoboCop, Total Recall, and Basic Instinct. Forget it. Paul Verhoeven's work is hard to grasp, and a $100 million investment is too big. Aaron shook his head. Now that Dawn was at his doorstep, there was no shortage of projects. "Okay," Christiana Yeri said, kissing Aaron and taking off her clothes. That evening, the annual Metropolitan Museum of Art Gala, Met Gala, took place in New York. Since last year, the Met Gala has been fully taken over by American Vogue, and Vogue's editor-in-chief, Anna Wintour, has single-handedly transformed it into Vogue's annual fashion event. This year's theme was the Christian Dior exhibition, and Aaron attended the gala with Winona Ryder, who was staying in New York. However, the centerpiece of this year's ball was the recently divorced Princess Diana, who dazzled in a blue Dior gown. "By the way, Winona, I heard you've joined 20th Century Fox's Alien 4, right?" Aaron held Winona Ryder in his arms as they stood in a secluded hallway. Winona Ryder's sleek short hair, paired with a sexy, low-cut dress, was incredibly sexy. "Yet, I rarely get involved in these kinds of commercial blockbusters, so I decided to give it a try," Winona Ryder smiled. After all, the salary offered by 20th Century Fox was quite high, $3.5 million. Aaron nodded, lowered his head, and kissed the girl for a moment. The newspaper said that Ellen Ripley, the heroine of the series, will be returning. "Right, yes, Sigourney Weaver plays Ellen Ripley again in this film, and I play a female robot." Actually, Sigourney Weaver's Ellen Ripley had died in Alien 3. Now that 20th Century Fox was developing a sequel, Sigourney Weaver had originally balked at continuing the film, but 20th Century Fox offered her a whopping $11 million. So, Sigourney Weaver returned, and the script created a clone of Ellen Ripley. With a whopping $11 million, she's the second Hollywood actress to earn over $10 million, following Demi Moore's $12.5 million for her role in Showgirls America. A few years ago, David Fincher's Alien 3 received a ton of negative reviews, and 20th Century Fox's actions nearly drove him away from directing. Now, a sequel. Aaron clearly felt the pressure from 20th Century Fox. After last year's release of Die Hard 3, the franchise desperately needed a new film to revive its fortunes. "What? You're not optimistic about Alien 4, Winona Ryder, participating in a commercial blockbuster, naturally hoped for good results. Who knows? The Alien series has such a wide audience, and 20th Century Fox chose French director Jean-Pierre Jeunet to direct this one. I can't understand it." Aaron had no impression of any other French commercial film directors besides Luc Besson. Winona Ryder blinked. "By the way, I heard 20th Century Fox is collaborating with George Lucas to produce a Star Wars prequel trilogy, and George Lucas started writing the script for the Star Wars prequel trilogy 2 years ago. The Star Wars series is Lucasfilm's treasure, while the distribution rights for the films are held by 20th Century Fox." Aaron shrugged. The competition is indeed getting more intense in the future. Chapter 417 Cruise's Appeal. The Star Wars series is arguably America's national sci-fi drama. George Lucas sought investment from everywhere but was rejected repeatedly. Finally, 20th Century Fox chose to back the project. However, to mitigate their own risks, 20th Century Fox didn't purchase the copyright and signed a no-pay agreement with Lucas. However, Lucas secured ownership of the Star Wars brand. While 20th Century Fox recouped revenue from theaters and videotapes, Lucasfilm retained all remaining licensing rights, including toy licensing. At the Met Gala dinner, Aaron also met 60-year-old French fashion designer Yves Saint Laurent and 62-year-old Italian fashion designer Giorgio Armani. In Aaron's mind, 9 out of 10 designers are gay or bisexual, especially renowned fashion designers like these. With a recent economic recovery, European luxury brands are becoming increasingly valuable, Aaron jokingly remarked to Winona Ryder, who was standing beside him. "What? Are you interested in these luxury clothing brands?" Hollywood has always maintained a cooperative relationship with these luxury brands. After all, the publicity effect of film and television is absolutely unique. Aaron simply picked up his glass and took a sip. Who knows? With the conclusion of the first round of the NBA playoffs, the Houston Rockets defeated the Lakers 3-1 and advanced to the second round. The Rockets' opponent in the Western Conference semifinals was the Seattle Supersonics, and the other match was between the San Antonio Spurs and the Utah Jazz. At the same time, Dawn's The Rock also began to be released, and the premiere was held at Alcatraz Prison in San Francisco. The Rock is Dawn's biggest film this year. Even before its release, the public was buzzing about this blockbuster. The premiere immediately caused a sensation. The film cost $75 million to produce, and the U.S. Marines were directly involved in the filming. Many of the thrilling scenes in the film were shot on location, and the huge cast was awe-inspiring to the audience. In the first 3 days of its weekend, The Rock earned $25 million at the weekly box office. The film received rave reviews, injecting a shot in the arm for the lively summer season. San Francisco Chronicle, a raucous Rambo-style action thriller, in which fanatics use Alcatraz as their hideout and regard San Francisco as a prey. Houston Post, the Terminator of other tough guy films, the midsummer male hormones explode in a brilliant way. The film has a Wagnerian soundtrack and a jaw-dropping death toll. At the same time, it is extremely funny. Chicago Sun-Times, a first-class action thriller with diverse styles and humor. Rolling Stone, The Rock is a luxurious popcorn movie. The Globe and Mail, The Rock is actually a typical silly American humor. Rockefeller Center, Universal Headquarters. Aaron leaned back in his chair, glanced across at Tom Rothman, and smiled. Michael Bay never fails to surprise us. His style of directing action films resonates easily with audiences. Tom Rothman nodded. The grand visuals, the shocking explosions, the sharp action editing, the stirring music. Michael Bay is really good at getting the audience's adrenaline and testosterone pumping. It was clear that Michael Bay had already captivated Tom Rothman with Bad Boys for Life and The Rock. But the next Paramount action blockbuster, Mission Impossible, shouldn't be underestimated. It's a film produced and starring Tom Cruise himself. Mission Impossible was released a week later than The Rock. Although the director was a newcomer, Tom Cruise, now at the peak of his career, was no match for the newly crowned Oscar winner Nicolas Cage or the veteran 007 inches Sean Connery. Tom Rothman nodded. Tom Cruise's popularity is incredible. From the time Mission Impossible was filmed to its release, media coverage was virtually non-stop. Planning for Mission Impossible began after Tom Cruise starred in Con Air. From a star in art house and drama films to an action film star, Tom Cruise's influence continued to spread. Soon, with the release of Mission Impossible, it grossed $45 million in its first 3 days, while The Rock took in $18 million the following weekend. The cumulative box office for The Rock over its 10-day run matched Mission Impossible's opening weekend total, demonstrating Tom Cruise's immense appeal. Even though Mission Impossible received mixed reviews, its thrills and excitement were undeniable. Many American media outlets commented that Tom Cruise looked cool in the film and captured audience attention with clever, inexplicable moves. However, the action in the film is so fast-paced and varied in style that the audience suspends their questions and remains captivated by the action sequences. And when the film ends, they find themselves left with no answers. In East New York, Charlize Theron returned to her rental apartment from acting class when she received a phone message from her agent. She immediately called him and learned that his agent had gotten her an audition for Scream 2. Scream 2? Really? Of course you have to take it seriously. Scream is a comedy horror film that's grossed over $100 million in North America. Developing a sequel now is a sure thing, I understand. I'll go to Los Angeles right away. After Charlize Theron hung up the phone, she immediately shook her head. Scream is the Ace series of Twilight Pictures, a subsidiary of Dawn. She felt that this was the compensation for Mr. Aaron Anderson, who had visited her in the hospital before. Thinking about it, Charlize Theron took out a business card of Aaron Anderson from her bag. In any case, Charlize Theron certainly didn't want to waste time. The Devil's Advocate already has a heroine and is about to start filming. The crew members are already rehearsing. The role in Scream 2 is the most important project for her now. After all, Scream released last year was too successful. I don't know if you still remember me? Or if you will recognize me after meeting me. Charlize Theron wondered whether she would meet Mr. Aaron Anderson again in the future. It's more important to go to Los Angeles first. Chapter 418 Jordan's Big Drama. May is Memorial Day in the United States, a national holiday that includes the weekend, for a total of 3 days off. It also heralds the arrival of summer. On the beach in East Hampton, Long Island, Aaron lay on the sand, arms around Winona Ryder. Aren't you going to the set of Alien 4? I'm starting tomorrow. Winona Ryder, dressed in a sexy bikini, leaned into Aaron's arms. The Rock doesn't seem as popular as Mission Impossible, right? Aaron smiled. Don't worry, The Rock is definitely a good movie. Why compare it to Mission Impossible? Tom Cruise is now the absolute best of the best. Maybe Tom Hanks can compare, even Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone can't. After all, When Tom Cruise takes a role these days, it's not just about the salary, he participates in the production and gets a share of the film's total revenue, including box office, television, and video sales. "Well, you seem pretty confident about next month's Twister," he said. Confidence is a given for a special effects disaster movie. It's not just Twister, but Independence Day as well. "Did you pay attention to the Cannes Film Festival that just ended?" Winona Ryder asked, leaning on Aaron's chest. "There was one, the Coen brothers drama Fargo, which won Best Director. They're the leading figures in the independent film industry. Polygram Films has worked with them for years. Now, Polygram Films USA has integrated the independent distributor Gramercy Pictures and will be distributing films in the US itself. Universal, which previously owned a stake in Gramercy Pictures, also sold it to Polygram." Gwyneth Paltrow just starred in a Miramax production, based on Jane Austen's novel of the same name. Emma Sense and Sensibility, which released just before New Moon, was a huge success, and Emma is also generating a lot of buzz. Filming began earlier this year, with Miramax funding and production, also gearing up for awards season at the end of the year. Sense and Sensibility grossed $43 million in North America and $90 million overseas, for a global total of $130 million. "Did Miramax expect Emma to have such a high box office?" Aaron laughed. "Not to mention that among Jane Austen novels, Sense and Sensibility is significantly more well-known than Emma, and then there's the film's creative staff, Sense and Sensibility's director Ang Lee, and the main cast, Emma Thompson, Hugh Grant, and Kate Winslet. And Emma, is it all about Gwyneth Paltrow, Brad Pitt's girlfriend?" That evening, at a vacation home in East Hampton, Long Island, Aaron lay on Winona Ryder, enjoying her body. After an unknown amount of time, Aaron turned over and got down. Gently caressing the girl in his arms, Aaron suddenly asked, "Have you been suffering from insomnia lately?" Winona Ryder shook her head. "It's gotten much better in the past few years, thank you." "What are you thanking me for?" Aaron kissed the girl affectionately on the mouth. "Looking at your current condition, it's indeed getting better and better. I told you a long time ago, don't have any pressure. Career and other things are just trivial matters, really." Winona Ryder smiled and then caressed little Aaron. Aaron caressed the girl's soft body. "Of course it's a small matter. You just like to put pressure on yourself, which is why you often suffer from insomnia." Hollywood stars live under the spotlight. They have one face in front of people and another face behind people. No matter whether it's a small matter or a big matter, it will be presented to the public under the magnifying glass of the media. You have to maintain a good attitude. Winona Ryder narrowed her eyes and rubbed Aaron's body. "Well, I understand. I believe that even if something happens in the future, you will definitely help me, right? Don't worry, nothing will happen." As he said that, Aaron reached out and stroked Winona Ryder's head. Soon, Aaron on the bed enjoyed the girl's service with peace of mind. NBA playoffs. In the Western Conference semifinals, the Houston Rockets lost to the Seattle Supersonics 2-4 and went home, while the Utah Jazz defeated the San Antonio Spurs 4-2. The two Texas teams were defeated, and the Seattle Supersonics and Utah Jazz entered the Western Conference Finals. Houston, Dawn Center Arena. Aaron and Jack Wells sat together in the office, and he said sternly, "With their current roster, it's hard for the Rockets to win a championship. The players are too old." Hakeem Olajuwon, the team's dream, could still play, but he was 33 and would be 34 when his contract expired next year. Clyde Drexler, the glider, who turned 34, had declined significantly, and his contribution to the team was becoming less and less significant. Aaron, what do you mean?" Aaron thought without hesitation. "Let's rebuild. The Rockets need to find a successor for Olajuwon, and he's getting older." Jack Wells glared. "You're not thinking of trading him, are you?" Aaron thought for a moment. "If the outside offer is right, it's not impossible. Of course, he can still play, so keeping him is a good idea. Besides, if Hakeem Olajuwon were traded now, the Houston fans would probably erupt in anger." Jack Wells suddenly realized something and looked at Aaron with a look of disbelief. "Aaron, don't tell me you're trying to bring Michael Jordan to Chicago, right?" It was no secret that Michael Jordan's contract with the Chicago Bulls expired this year. And with Michael Jordan's unparalleled influence in the NBA, what team wouldn't want him? Aaron blinked. "I don't think the Chicago Bulls would let him go." The NBA salary cap had increased significantly this season, but it was still only $25 million. Aaron knew Michael Jordan's contract extension was for $30 million. but it's not impossible. It's okay to give it a try. Aaron didn't hold out much hope for Michael Jordan, but other big-name players in their prime were also expiring this year. The Rockets roster needed to change, or they wouldn't even be a championship contender. Jack Wells smiled and gave a thumbs up. That's a great idea. We'll keep an eye on it after the playoffs. Jack Wells knew Michael Jordan's power and understood that this summer's NBA season would be incredibly lively. A fierce competition for Michael Jordan was about to unfold. While there wouldn't be many teams with the potential to compete, the Houston Rockets were definitely a contender. Aaron nodded. Well, wait and see. It's going to be exciting. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 419 Global Monster Gene. The U.S. election was in full swing. Aaron, back in New York, attended a fundraising dinner hosted by the Clintons. Compared to 4 years ago, Clinton was now in a much more prominent position. The improving U.S. economy had steadily boosted his approval ratings. However, Aaron wasn't pleased with the U.S.'s involvement in the political turmoil of East Asia and the Middle East. Aaron clinked his glasses with Lloyd Bentsen Jr. and said, "It looks like Mr. Clinton will become the second Democratic president to be re-elected after Franklin Roosevelt." Lloyd Bentsen Jr. smiled. "It's truly a great event for the Democratic Party." Aaron shook his head. "What a shame. Once you've tasted power, it's hard to let go. Even a puppet will develop its own ideas." Clinton's Jewish backing was substantial, leading to a growing number of Jewish cabinet members, but no one wanted to remain a puppet. As a key Clinton financial backer, Aaron was unconcerned as long as the policies didn't affect his own interests. Since Rabin's assassination last November, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has intensified. Lloyd Bentsen Jr. glanced at Aaron. The commitment of American Jewish forces to aiding Israel had become even more apparent. Aaron smiled. A bunch of greedy lunatics. Aaron then discussed the film industry with the Clintons. Hollywood's globalization strategy has made American films unstoppable. Last year, the North American film market grossed $5.1 billion, accounting for roughly half of the global total. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, MGM acquired its post-1948 film copyright library from Time Warner for a total of $1.38 billion in cash. Seagram's investment in MGM seemed to signal the beginnings of its resurgence. The Los Angeles Times reported, the 7 major Hollywood studios have officially taken shape. As competition intensified in Hollywood, the newly established DreamWorks SKG felt the pressure. Production on 2 animated feature films, The Prince of Egypt and Ant-Man, accelerated. Meanwhile, DreamWorks' first live-action film was in full swing. However, Steven Spielberg was busy filming Universal's blockbuster, Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Consequently, the pressure of delivering DreamWorks' first live-action film fell on Jeffrey Katzenberg. A comedy script, Mouse Hunt, similar in plot to Home Alone, but with mice as the protagonists, was originally offered to Disney and 20th Century Fox. The two companies engaged in a fierce bidding war over the script. Later, DreamWorks' Jeffrey Katzenberg learned of the situation and joined the bidding. Perhaps to get back at Disney's Michael Eisner, DreamWorks' bid always outbid Disney's. Meanwhile, New Line Cinema, in conjunction with Marvel Studios under Dawn, officially began development on Blade. Compared to Warner Bros.' sequel, Batman and Robin, Blade would have a much smaller impact. At Dawn Universal headquarters in Burbank, Aaron leaned back in his chair, holding a Universal project that had been in the works for several years, The New Mummy. It's no secret that Universal Pictures has a wealth of monster-themed properties, including The Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein, The Bride of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, The Wolf Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and King Kong. Remaking The Mummy is definitely a good idea. Aaron tapped the table. Don Steele nodded. Producer James Jacks came up with the idea of remaking this classic horror film from the 1930s in 1992. At the time, Universal Pictures also agreed to finance the filming, but the prerequisite was that the production cost of the film had to be kept under $10 million, because Universal only wanted to make a low-budget horror film. Aaron looked up. Why didn't it get filmed? It's probably because of the director. After Universal agreed to the filming, James Jacks found Clive Barker as the director. The version conceived by the latter was quite violent. The story revolved around an art gallery director who tried to resurrect a mummy. Moreover, producer James Jacks also believed that Clive Barker's lens was dark, sexy and mysterious, and he would definitely make an excellent low-budget horror film. Everyone was happy at first, and perhaps The Mummy would soon be released, but unexpectedly, after several meetings, Clive Barker gradually lost interest in cooperating with Universal, and the two sides eventually parted ways. Then we approached George A. Romero, but he wanted to make it a zombie film in the vein of Night of the Living Dead. Producer James Jacks and Universal Pictures, the studio producing the film, felt that the high level of scares didn't fit the original intention and would actually distance the film from the audience, so they abandoned the idea. Aaron nodded. So, now we've approached director Joe Dante again. Joe Dante's works often blend elements of comedy, fantasy, and horror, making him a genre director. In the 1970s and 1980s, he directed films like the Gremlins series, Piranha, 3 Times the Frightful One, 1981, Journey to the West, The Amazing Voyage, and Neighbors from Hell. Aaron looked at the script in his hands. Joe Dante's story primarily takes place in modern times, focusing on themes of reincarnation and love. Furthermore, Joe Dante wanted Oscar-winning actor Daniel Day-Lewis to play the lingering mummy. It's a bit like a mummy version of Dracula. That's definitely not suitable, Aaron rejected without hesitation. A new version of The Mummy can't be a low-budget horror film, let alone a love story about reincarnation. It should be an intense action-adventure film with horror elements, featuring grand scenes, with a mummy as the protagonist's antagonist. Dawn Steele pondered for a moment, then asked uncertainly, adding grand scenes means turning The Mummy into a blockbuster. That's right. Since it's a remake, if it follows the low-budget horror route of the original, it won't make much of a dent in the current market. When it comes to horror films, Scream is now the benchmark. There's no need to waste such a great subject as The Mummy. Universal's library of monster IPs is its true heritage, especially King Kong, which was plagued by copyright disputes. The gorilla now belongs to Universal. Chapter 420, Retribution. Aaron had just returned to Los Angeles, watching the European Championship in England and the NBA playoffs. Insider information broke about Disney's ABC network acquiring NBC's programming chief, Jamie Tasers. It was revealed that Disney had lured Tasers to join ABC as president of content production. Disney had allegedly lured her into breach of contract and even incited her to threaten a sexual harassment lawsuit. Now, the scandal surrounding Tasers' recruitment has been exposed in the media, with all the blame directed at Disney president Michael Ovitz. It was Michael Ovitz who recruited Tasers, and he had deliberately bypassed current ABC chairman Robert Iger. After Disney acquired Metropolitan ABC, former ABC chairman and CEO Tom Murphy joined the Disney board and has since semi-retired, leaving ABC under the helm of former COO Robert Iger. Michael Eisner was furious at the media reports and demanded a public apology from Michael Ovitz to recoup losses. Even though Michael Ovitz claimed he wasn't the leaker, and even that Disney wasn't at fault, Michael Eisner held Michael Ovitz personally responsible. Michael Ovitz, who had been Disney's president for less than a year, couldn't understand why Michael Eisner, who had known him for nearly 30 years, had always believed him, no longer. This lack of trust was the most devastating blow to Ovitz. Jeffrey Katzenberg of DreamWorks Entertainment, which competed with 20th Century Fox and Disney for the script of Mouseette, stormed in and won the comedy at a high price. Katzenberg then announced that Mouseette would be DreamWorks SKG's first live-action project. As Disney was embroiled in the Jamie Tuthers scandal, losing a script was a minor issue. However, amidst the breakdown of separation talks with Disney, Jeffrey Katzenberg finally filed a lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court, accusing Disney of breaching his contract and demanding damages. For Katzenberg, taking the case to court was a relief and a crucial step in his journey towards moving on from his Disney experience. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Katzenberg summarized his time at Disney. "I was disappointed, sad, angry, scared, repressed, vindictive, relieved, and heartbroken." In response to Jeffrey Katzenberg's accusations, Michael Eisner, his former friend and boss, also issued a response. "I thought I knew him. We spent more time together than anyone else over the past 19 years, but the truth is, either he has changed or I never really knew him." In Burbank, at Disney headquarters, a distressed Michael Eisner sat on the sofa with a letter in his hand. It was written by Michael Ovitz. "For me, this is simply not right. I have nothing to do now. I am actually just out there engaging in verbal battles. I have no real power to do anything, you don't need me. What you need is someone who follows the rules and does not seek development. In this situation, my energy and talents are buried." The content of the letter simply expressed Michael Ovitz's increasingly serious dissatisfaction and frustration, but Michael Eisner disdained the letter and threw it directly into the trash can. Later, ABC Chairman Robert Iger arrived at the office and politely expressed his desire not to report to President Michael Ovitz. Previously, when Michael Ovitz recruited Jamie Tasers, he had bypassed Iger. Even after joining ABC, Jamie Tasers, as chairman, had stated that he would report directly to Michael Eisner and Michael Ovitz, not to Iger. Michael Eisner stared at Iger and said, "Don't worry, Michael Ovitz is no longer president. I can't say when, but I will take care of this matter at some point. You mustn't tell anyone else." Iger, carefully watching Michael Eisner's expression, nodded and left the office. Michael Ovitz's practice of cultivating his own people right in front of him had driven Michael Eisner to the brink of collapse. Now, Michael Eisner wondered how to remove him with the least possible cost. Michael Ovitz had previously sought to foster a partnership between Disney's Hollywood Records and Sony Music. Michael Eisner had previously praised Michael Ovitz's strengths to Sony. Since the dismissal of Sony America chairman Mickey Schulhoff late last year, Sony America is currently searching for a replacement. Perhaps recommending Michael Ovitz to Sony America as head of Sony America would be a good idea and a perfect solution to Disney's current problems. Santa Monica, MGM headquarters. Edgar Bronfman Jr. asked MGM CEO Frank Marcuso with a smile, "Would it be a good idea to invite Michael Ovitz to join now?" Frank Marcuso shook his head. Ever since Michael Ovitz left CAA to join Disney as president, CAA has been falling apart. CAA's partners and former agents have been slamming him, and now Disney is also worried about him. Bringing him in is a huge hassle, and we also have to consider Ronald Mayer's feelings. Once Michael Ovitz's closest partner at CAA, Ronald Mayer had frequently complained about Michael Ovitz in the newspapers after joining MGM as president. Compared to other CAA partners, Ronald Mayer was CAA's second in command, the president. Now that Michael Ovitz was struggling, virtually no one was speaking up for him, not his agents but the stars he once worked for. This clearly showed just how despicable Michael Ovitz's character was. Edgar Bronfman Jr. smiled and said, "I was indeed overthinking it." Michael Ovitz's situation was all caused by himself. At that time, Edgar Bronfman Jr. gave up Michael Ovitz and chose Ronald Mayer to manage MGM, mainly because Michael Ovitz was too greedy and arrogant. Chapter 421 Jewish Network. A dinner was being held at a luxurious Beverly Hills mansion to welcome the Clintons. Aaron, one of Clinton's financial backers, was in attendance. However, some of the people in the room made Aaron gasp in shock. The Clintons' Jewish connections were truly extensive. Among them were Ronald Perlman, the Wall Street investment expert who sold Marvel to Aaron, Michael Medver, the Hollywood producer and former president of TriStar, David Geffen and Jeffrey Katzenberg, representatives of DreamWorks SKG, Sylvia Hassenfeld, a member of the founding family of toy giant Hasbro, Evelyn and Lynn Rothschild of the Rothschild family, Lair Wexner, owner of Limited Brands, Ronald Lauder, chairman of the Estee Lauder Group, Donald Fowler, chairman of the Democratic National Committee, and Edgar Bronfman, a Canadian Jewish tycoon. These were all members of Jewish organizations like the United Jewish Appeal, UJA, and the World Jewish Committee, WJC. Aaron even ran into Jeffrey Epstein again, having met him several years earlier at Clinton's first presidential inauguration. Jeffrey Epstein was, indeed, a close friend of Clinton's. This powerful pimp was indeed a master of business. Limited Brands owner Lair Wexner approached Aaron and clinked his glass. The growth of the Victoria's Secret brand is truly astonishing. The Victoria's Secret fashion show is an absolute genius. Aaron simply smiled. This is all thanks to you, Les. You took a near-bankrupt lingerie brand and turned it into the top-selling brand in the U.S. We're just building on your legacy. The popularity of the Victoria's Secret fashion show skyrocketed Victoria's Secret's brand value and stock price. Aaron, in conjunction with Franklin Templeton Investments, acquired Victoria's Secret, earning a fortune. Without Victoria's Secret, Limited Brands' stock price continued to plummet, its value shrinking, a move Lair Wexner bitterly regretted. After the ball, Aaron went to Jennifer Connelly's villa in Beverly Hills. The NBA Finals are tied at 2-2 between the Seattle Supersonics and the Chicago Bulls. Which team do you think will win? Jennifer Connelly asked Aaron, lying in his arms on the bed. Feeling the girl's 34D figure, Aaron said uncertainly, "It's hard to say. Michael Jordan on the Chicago Bulls is still going strong, and Sticko Pippen shouldn't be underestimated. The Seattle Supersonics are a big deal. Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp are their biggest strength. This year, they eliminated the Rockets and the Utah Jazz in quick succession. They're in surprisingly good form." Well, Aaron wasn't sure the Chicago Bulls would win the championship. Without Rodman, and with the Supersonics in good form this year, it was hard to say. After all, Michael Jordan wasn't at his peak in this year's playoffs, and wasn't even as good as last year. "Really? It seems you're quite optimistic about the Supersonics," Jennifer Connelly smiled. "There's a lot of new prospects in the NBA draft at the end of this month, but unfortunately, Tim Duncan, the top player in college, has already announced he won't be entering this year's draft to finish college." Aaron rolled over, pressing himself against Jennifer Connelly. "Tim Duncan, if he enters, he'll definitely be a champion. Like Shaquille O'Neal, he's irreplaceable." Aaron knew how desperately teams would tank next season to land Tim Duncan. However, there were other highly sought-after prospects in the draft this year, including perimeter players like Georgetown's Allen Iverson, Connecticut's Ray Allen, and Georgia technician Stephen Marbury, and inside players like UMass's Marcus Camby and Memphis Lorenzen Wright. Of course, Jennifer Connelly put her arm around the man's neck and kissed him sweetly. With the arrival of Dawn Universal's Twister, it opened in 2,450 theaters across North America, grossing $41 million in its first weekend. Meanwhile, Universal's previous release, The Rock, had surpassed $95 million at the box office, while Paramount's Mission Impossible had already reached $140 million. Twister's disaster-themed visuals received widespread acclaim. While many critics criticized the film's plot and character portrayal, the goal was to attract audiences to theaters. Furthermore, the success of Twister has given Universal greater confidence in its upcoming sci-fi action film, Independence Day, set to be released next month. The success of Universal's Twister has undoubtedly fueled a wave of interest in disaster films, further boosting Warner Bros.' confidence in Sylvester Stallone's The Hour, slated for release at the end of the year. Furthermore, MGM's Danter Peak and 20th Century Fox's Lolton, two other disaster films about volcanic eruptions, have also begun filming simultaneously. In Burbank, at Akabano headquarters, Aaron leaned back in his chair, his fingers tapping lightly on the table in front of him. Elsaline Beckett was presenting a report on the construction plans for the various Universal Studios properties. "I'm not worried about Universal Studios Osaka. If Sumitomo Realty can't even handle that, how can they be called a Japanese consortium? Universal Studios Hollywood is just a few new projects, so no big deal. Now it's Universal Studios Orlando. The new Islands of Adventure must be completed on time. I don't care about the process, I just want the results." The construction workers at Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Orlando, many of whom are Hispanic, have recently been plagued by some issues. Although they haven't been reported, Akabano's investment in Universal Studios is so huge that Aaron won't tolerate any surprises. "Understood." After Elsaline Beckett left, Aaron called Lloyd Benson Jr. in Houston. "Aaron, what's up?" "Nothing. I just wanted to know if Jeb Bush is still settling in Florida." Jeb Bush is George W. Bush's younger brother. "Yeah, you know, Jeb Bush ran for governor of Florida before, but unfortunately, he failed, while George W. Bush successfully ran for governor of Texas. Besides, he will run again next time. He settled in Dade County, Florida, and he is also the chairman of the Florida Republican Committee." Aaron thought about it. His next gubernatorial election would not be until 1998. So, what are Jeb Bush's connections in the Florida legislature, worthy to make friends with? Okay, when you have time, go visit George W. Bush and then donate to Jeb Bush. Chapter 422 Hollywood Beautiful Girl. Universal Orlando is poised to become a Florida landmark, similar to Disneyland. Such a massive industry wouldn't be viable without government tax incentives and support. Aaron knew Jeb Bush would be a successful candidate for Florida governor, so he needed to start planning ahead. Universal Orlando didn't expect to become a state within a state like Disney, but it certainly needed to have the necessary subsidies and tax exemptions. In late June, Universal released the sci-fi comedy The Nutty Professor, starring renowned American comedian Eddie Murphy. Its $25 million opening weekend proved Universal's worth, considering that its previous hits had all been its own. Warner Bros. Action blockbuster The Vaporizer, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, also opened with $24.5 million. However, The Vaporizer, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, cost $100 million to produce. The Vaporizer, on the other hand, was Eddie Murphy's comeback after a difficult few years, with a budget of just $54 million. Schwarzenegger's action blockbusters certainly don't have the same impact as Eddie Murphy's comedies. However, the critical reception for The Nutty Professor is mediocre, not as good as The Nutty Professor, The Hollywood Reporter commented. The film's conception is novel, full of humor, amusement, and brilliant gags. Through clever use of makeup techniques and special effects, Eddie Murphy showcases his comedic talent, perfectly portraying two distinct characters and the contrasting personalities they convey. The Houston Post commented, obesity is a major affliction in life. In society, obese people may face challenges in everything they do, and this film reflects this reality, but Nutty Scream takes a positive approach to exploring the meaning and value of life. While the film's image and antics elicit laughter, it also affirms the character and emotions of the fat professor. Compared to the rave reviews for Eddie Murphy's The Nutty Professor, The Nutty Professor seems somewhat underwhelming. The Washington Post, in the movie Venetian Command, the audience is not watching anything original, but just re-experiencing elements seen in other movies, including Die Hard and Lethal Weapon. The Los Angeles Times, measured by the standards of action movies, Venetian Command is undoubtedly a success. Screenwriters Tony Puryear and Valen Green have concocted one of the most spectacular action scenes of the summer. The Chicago Tribune, although Arnold Schwarzenegger's performance in Venetian Command is very hard, this work does not reach the best level of his acting career and only provides a tepid viewing experience for action movie fans. Entertainment Weekly, the film takes the chase, explosions and gunfights to the extreme and integrates computers and high technology into the plot. For moviegoers, it is a good audio-visual enjoyment. Not only that, Venetian Command is also a little worse than the previously released The Rock. After all, The Rock, directed by Michael Bay, was shot very patiently, the plot gradually improved, and the rhythm was more appropriate. The film's elegant presence, combined with the eccentricity and drive of Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage, creates a remarkable harmony. Ed Harris's aloofness is also a remarkable portrayal, and the main characters are all captivating. Venetian boasts a captivating plot, and coupled with the immense fame of Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of Hollywood's most bankable action stars, it has attracted a large and loyal audience. The commercial appeal of this star-studded cast is the primary driver of Venetian's profits. However, as an action star, Schwarzenegger has frequently appeared in thrillers and sci-fi films, always portraying himself as a savior and a fierce warrior. While this has drawn widespread attention, it has also become tiresome. Perhaps, in today's American society, because crime and darkness are so rampant and even overwhelming, people have pinned their desire for revenge and hope for world salvation on these heroes. Justice ultimately triumphs over evil, even disregarding the law, yet it's a source of profound joy. At night, in a West Hollywood bar, Aaron embraced the voluptuous Nicole Kidman as they danced on the dance floor. The two kissed passionately in the bar, which was filled with the scent of a mixture of hormones. The war drama The Path, starring Nicole Kidman and Denzel Washington, is set to be released next month. Well, Aaron, if nothing unexpected happens, Dawn will dominate Hollywood again this summer, starting in the spring, with Ace Ventura 2, The Lost Ark and Broken Arrow, then The Rock, Twister, The Nutty Professor, and next up, Independence Day. You really aren't afraid of making other studios jealous, are you? Nicole Kidman clung to Aaron's chest, squinting her eyes, enjoying the man's gentle touch. Aaron laughed and leaned in to kiss the girl's ear. What are you jealous of? Are you jealous of my box office success? What do you think? Nicole Kidman rubbed against a man. I heard you recommended my friend, Naomi Watts, for a new film directed by David Fincher, alongside Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. Yes, it's a polygram project, Nicole Kidman nodded. Looks like she's worth cultivating. Aaron didn't care. With his current position in Hollywood, it was easy for him to promote someone. Not bad. She's got good professional skills, and more importantly, a great attitude. Nicole Kidman kissed Aaron on the mouth. Do you want me to go on vacation with you? Aaron Anderson was definitely going on vacation during the summer. You have 2 movies coming out, and you have other new projects to shoot. Do you have time? Besides The Fate of the Furious, which will be released next month, Nicole Kidman also has The Lady, an arty romance by New Zealand director Jane Campion, coming out in the fall. Nicole Kidman now has 2 films a year, so she's very busy during the summer. Of course there's time. As long as you need it, there's always time, Aaron smiled, knowing she was worried. What are you afraid of? Don't we have enough time together? Well, I'm getting older, and there are beautiful girls in Hollywood every year. Chapter 423 An Accident. Inside the bar's private room, Nicole Kidman straddled Aaron, hugging him tightly, her clothes half undressed, her face flushed. Huh? Aaron lifted his head from the girl's chest and kissed her. In the dimly lit room, a beautiful melody played as Aaron caressed Nicole Kidman's fair, smooth skin. After an indeterminate moment, Aaron, leaning back on the sofa, exhaled and released his hand from Nicole Kidman's blonde hair. I've signed several film deals with 20th Century Fox, with Village Roadshow Entertainment involved. VShow Entertainment has officially entered the Hollywood production business. Nicole Kidman stood up, wiped her mouth, and recounted this. Aaron simply smiled. VShow Entertainment, entering the international production business, it's normal. Village Roadshow Entertainment was originally an Australian entertainment company focused on distribution, operating theaters. Later, it entered the production business, but still focused on Australian films. It's only natural for Village Roadshow Entertainment to establish a U.S. branch and participate in the investment and production of Hollywood films. After all, Hollywood is the global film center, home to the most sophisticated film industry, and the world's largest market. Any film company with even a modicum of ambition would undoubtedly want to enter Hollywood. Hollywood is increasingly prioritizing the independent film market these days. We have Crescent Pictures under Dawn, Sony Classics, Miramax under Disney, and Fox Searchlight under 20th Century Fox. Dawn previously had a successful partnership with the UK's Polygram Films, so it's only natural that 20th Century Fox is now collaborating with Village Roadshow Entertainment Australia. After all, while News Corporation now derives 70% of its revenue from the US, it's still an Australian company, registered in Adelaide, Australia. 20th Century Fox has a natural advantage in the Australian market. After News Corporation acquired 20th Century Fox, it immediately established a production base in Sydney. Nicole Kidman smiled. It was Pulp Fiction from 2 years ago. It was incredible. It took independent films to a whole new level. Directors like Steven Soderbergh, the Coen brothers, and Quentin Tarantino have all made invaluable contributions to the development of independent cinema. Okay, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be heading home soon. Aaron, after finishing his clothes, stood up from the sofa. Yeah, I told you I'd go home. Nicole Kidman rolled her eyes. Aaron smiled and left the private room, lighting a cigarette for himself and heading to the bathroom. The marijuana in the bathroom air was so thick you could smell it before you even entered. Restrooms are truly a favorite place for stoners. Oh, Keanu. After leaving the bathroom, Aaron ran into Keanu Reeves in the hallway. Mr. Anderson, good evening. Keanu Reeves greeted Aaron Anderson with a smile. Good evening. I heard you're working with Al Pacino, right? Aaron asked, wondering if filming had started on The Devil's Advocate. Yes, Mr. Al Pacino and I are working on The Devil's Advocate. He was just here to promote his computer because his blockbuster Independence Day is opening next month on Independence Day. Okay, let's talk later, Aaron said, patting him on the shoulder with a smile. Keanu Reeves is clearly in better shape now than he was a few years ago. It seems his lifestyle has indeed changed since River Phoenix's passing. At least he's not the pale, dazed look he was when Aaron met him a few years ago. After all, as a rock enthusiast among the younger generation in Hollywood, like Johnny Depp, he's a complete drug addict. Afterwards, Aaron and Nicole Kidman drove along Sunset Boulevard back to Santa Monica. Whoosh, suddenly, a car sped past them, and the sound of a police car chasing them echoed from behind. Aaron shook his head. It's okay for these guys to get themselves killed, but it's not good for them to endanger others, is it? Nicole Kidman nodded in agreement. A moment later, as Aaron's luxury Jaguar passed by, the police had already stopped the speeding car and detained a man from the vehicle. Do you know who I am? Fuck, you dare to arrest me. I'm going to file a complaint against you. Fuck, hey, isn't that Robert Downey Jr.? Nicole Kidman glared at Robert Downey Jr., cursing and being grilled by one police officer, while another took a gun and a bag from his car. Aaron simply turned his head and glanced. Probably high again, Nicole Kidman nodded. Just a while ago, I ran into Robert Downey Jr. and Deborah Falconer. They were going to the law firm. Robert Downey Jr. was indicted for drug possession this year, And now he's doing this again. Aaron reached out and touched Nicole Kidman's thigh, laughing. This guy's been smoking weed since he was 8, the car continued to drive. Aaron didn't care at all about a drug addict like Robert Downey Jr., whether he lived or died. Although he had some acting talent, after all, the biographical film Chaplin a few years ago had earned Robert Downey Jr. a Best Actor Oscar nomination. Back at their villa in Pacific Palisades, Santa Monica, Aaron was just about to shower when he received a call. "Boss, the scaffolding at Universal Orlando's Islands of Adventure has collapsed, and 2 people are dead." It was Estherine Beckett calling. The incident happened this afternoon. 5 people were injured. 2 were taken to the hospital but died. Huh? Aaron exhaled. He had just reminded Universal Orlando to keep up with his schedule, and that's when the scaffolding collapsed. I get it. Good PR. Get to the bottom of this. Aaron put down the phone. He didn't care about a few deaths on a large construction site. People died every day in the US, after all. Mainly, Aaron was worried about the project's progress. This kind of thing would definitely pose a safety hazard. Inspections would be a waste of time. What's wrong? Aren't you going to take a shower? Nicole Kidman asked, seeing Aaron sitting on the sofa with a frown on his face. No problem, Aaron waved. Pour me a glass of whiskey, thank you. Oh, sure, Nicole Kidman said, immediately going to the wine rack, putting ice in a glass, and pouring the whiskey. Aaron took the glass and took a sip. Chapter 424 Holding Your Breath. Aaron sat in his office, watching ABC News on TV, reporting on the accident at Universal Studios Orlando's Islands of Adventure. ABC, now owned by Disney, was sure to go all out with bad news about a competitor. What caused the collapse? Aaron asked. Preliminary analysis suggests worker error, Tom Williams explained. The specific cause still needs to be investigated. Aaron took a deep breath. I don't care what the specific cause is, my only concern is the deadline. I won't allow an accident to stop the construction site. A few Latino workers dying didn't matter. Tom Williams nodded. Work won't stop. The incident will be handled properly. Aaron waved his hand. All right, let's have the press officer do the TV interviews later. After Tom Williams left, Aaron poured himself a drink and looked out the window at Universal City Walk. In the NBA Finals, the Chicago Bulls, led by Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, defeated the Chicago Bulls, led by Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp, 4-3 in 7 games. Meanwhile, Irvin Johnson, who had returned to play for the Lakers earlier this year, announced his retirement after the playoffs. At the end of June, Twister, 3 weeks after its release, had already grossed over $100 million in North America and $80 million overseas. Meanwhile, The Rock had grossed $120 million in North America and over $170 million overseas. Aaron and Rupert Murdoch sat on beach chairs by the outdoor pool of the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills, chatting about Titanic. The production cost of Titanic soared to $200 million. After that, there were another $70 to $80 million in publicity and promotion expenses. It is definitely the most expensive movie in history, Rupert Murdoch said, looking at Aaron Anderson beside him. After the tragic performance of Waterworld and Cutthroat Island, almost all media are not optimistic about the profitability of Titanic. Aaron, are you worried? Universal just produced Waterworld, you don't want to fall again, do you? Aaron just smiled. Movies are also a business. If it is a business, there will be gains and losses. Besides, the current Universal is not the same Universal as before. Rupert Murdoch took off his glasses and wiped them. Indeed, Dawn has become more and more prosperous since it acquired Universal. It seems that Dawn will be the overlord of Hollywood again this year. Aaron took a sip of juice. No matter how powerful Dawn is, it is only in the film industry. But Fox launched the Fox Sports channel some time ago, and will also launch the Fox News channel this year. Through radio stations, television networks, and satellite TV, Fox's network now boasts a considerable reach. While Fox may not be as dominant as the 3 major wireless broadcast networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS, News Corporation possesses the most extensive global network presence. Fox previously spent $1.6 billion to acquire the 4-year broadcast rights for the National Football League, and now with the establishment of Fox Sports, it has a solid foundation. Aaron was clearly aware of Fox's investment in cable television. Rupert Murdoch looked at Aaron meaningfully and said, if you're willing, Fox would be happy to cooperate with you on USA and AMC cable. Aaron shook his head. Unfortunately, half of USA Cable is owned by Viacom. Okay, let's talk next time. With that, Aaron stood up as Christiana Yerry emerged from the pool. Seeing Aaron Anderson walk away with Christiana Yerry, clad in a sexy bikini, Rupert Murdoch lit a cigar, smiled, and shook his head, sighing, "It's great to be young." Aaron and Christiana Yerry went to the bar nearby and ordered 2 glasses of champagne. Aaron, was the construction accident at Universal Orlando's Islands of Adventure a major event? Not bad. The investigation showed it was a worker's fault. They didn't follow the instructions. It's the construction company's responsibility. Aaron hadn't been particularly worried, but Disney loved to use this as a topic of discussion, reporting on it nonstop for days. Christiana Yerry nodded. "There's a modeling competition in Brazil, and I'm a judge. I'll be staying in Brazil for a while." Ever since Christiana Yerry became involved in the Victoria's Secret fashion show, the modeling agency she founded has primarily focused on training models for the company. Well, that's pretty good. Victoria's Secret sales are booming, and brand awareness is growing. The Victoria's Secret fashion show has definitely contributed to this. Unfortunately, the Victoria's Secret fashion show can't be broadcast live yet. On Tuesday, July 2nd, Dawn's sci-fi special effects blockbuster Independence Day opened in 2,430 theaters across North America. It grossed $11 million on the first day, $17 million on the second day, and $17 million on the third day, Independence Day itself. For the next 3 days, it grossed $17 million each day. Independence Day was even more of a hit than Twister, surpassing $100 million at the box office after its first weekend. With $100 million in 6 days, Independence Day broke the previous record of 9 days set by Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park in 1993. Arguably the hottest summer movie, the release of Independence Day propelled the summer season to its peak. Empire magazine commented, "Like films like 2001, Star Wars, and Jurassic Park, Independence Day, as special effects have advanced, the visuals have become closer to the images people imagined when reading epic science fiction novels, and they have brought these images to life on screen." The Hollywood Reporter commented, "Roland Emmerich has assembled a skilled technical team and achieved near perfection. The film's action pyrotechnics are a masterpiece, including blazing fireballs that sweep between skyscrapers, blitzkrieg-like aerial battles, and spectacularly timed explosions. With the success of Sugin's 2 special effects blockbusters, Twister and Independence Day, Hollywood has taken Sugan seriously. Sugin's rise was already rapid, and after acquiring Universal, its overseas distribution network was well established. However, Sugin's box office dominance has truly taken Hollywood by surprise. Chapter 425 Americans know how to make money. With Sugwang's strong performance, its stock price has broken through $60 per share, bringing its market capitalization to nearly $25 billion. Atlanta, Georgia's capital, is about to host the 26th Summer Olympic Games. With athletes and tourists from around the world flocking to the city is bustling with activity. Atlanta is the commercial, financial, transportation, and industrial center of the southeastern United States, and the Atlanta metropolitan area is the 9th largest in the country. At night, at the Marriott Marquis Hotel in downtown Atlanta, Aaron, embracing Jennifer Connelly, leaned in the hotel room's large bathtub, admiring the Atlanta nightscape. "When did you become interested in the Olympics?" Jennifer Connelly, leaning in Aaron's arms, kissed him with a puzzled look. Aaron smiled, returning the kiss and caressing her 34D breasts. "I just came to see it. This year marks the centennial of the Olympic Games, and when it comes to hosting the Olympics, the United States is undisputed leader. The 1984 Los Angeles Olympics were the first in history to achieve a profit. America's money-making philosophy is truly admirable. Neither the Los Angeles Olympics nor this year's Atlanta Olympics were government-run, but rather privately funded. Funding was raised through the private sector, leveraging private sector resources to prepare for the Olympics. The Atlanta Olympics were solely handled by private capital, excluding the U.S. government and even the U.S. Olympic Committee. The government and domestic Olympic committees merely served as liaisons with the International Olympic Committee." Jennifer Connelly smiled and put her arm around the man's neck. "The Suns want to trade Charles Barkley, and the Rockets could use Dennis Rodman as a bargaining chip. Dennis Rodman has considerable ability, especially rebounding, but he's also incredibly difficult to deal with. He's been with the Rockets for 1 season and caused more trouble than all his previous seasons combined. No wonder the Spurs, even though they recognized his ability, wanted to move him on. Aaron shook his head. Another veteran player. Are the Rockets going to become a retirement facility? Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler are already aging, and injuries are increasing. Clyde Drexler, in particular, suffered a significant decline last season due to injuries and age. Now here comes another Charles Barkley? He's not young anymore. I'm here to see Shaquille O'Neal. He's an Olympic player for the USA men's basketball team and hasn't renewed his contract with the Orlando Magic yet. What the Rockets need now is a future core player, not the old, weak, or disabled. Furthermore, with the NBA season coming to an end, the god of basketball Michael Jordan's contract with the Chicago Bulls has expired, and he's testing the waters of free agency. Clubs like the Knicks, Lakers, Rockets, and Celtics have all extended olive branches to Michael Jordan. However, it's difficult to dislodge Michael Jordan, and the Chicago Bulls are doing their best to keep him. This is Michael Jordan putting pressure on the Chicago Bulls. Remember, the NBA salary cap for next season is only $24.3 million. The Houston Rockets have no confidence in acquiring Michael Jordan. His commercial value is simply too high. Today's perimeter players have much higher commercial value than big men. Last month, at the New Jersey NBA draft, the Rockets selected guard Derek Fisher with the 23rd pick. Top players these days are expensive, Jennifer Connelly sighed. A few days ago, Washington Bullets center Juwan Howard attempted to sign a 7-year, $100.8 million contract with the Miami Heat. However, due to salary cap regulations and pressure from the NBA and the Players Union, the contract was officially voided by the NBA. Heat head coach Pat Riley was furious, and the 23-year-old Howard subsequently agreed to a 7-year, $105 million contract with the Washington Bullets, remaining in Washington. Thus, the NBA's first $100 million contract winner was born. However, just days later, the Heat signed Alonzo Mourning, the 1992 second overall pick, to a 7-year, $105 million contract extension. Mourning had been traded from the Charlotte Hornets to the Heat late last year. This extension made him the first player in Heat history to receive a contract exceeding $100 million. Yet, it's not cheap. Alonzo Mourning and Juwan Howard both got contracts worth over $100 million. Shaquille O'Neal's agent, of course, has the same idea. Unfortunately, the Magic already has Anthony Hardaway. Shaquille O'Neal suffered a finger injury in the preseason last season and rested in the early regular season. As the point guard, Anthony Hardaway took on the team's scoring responsibility and led the Magic to a 17-5 start. He conquered the entire Orlando with his all-around performance of averaging 27 points, 5.8 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 2.2 steals and 1 block per game. Anthony Hardaway signed a super 9-year, $72 million contract with the Magic in the second year. I heard that O'Neal wants to sign a 7-year, $115 million contract with the Magic. The Magic made this public in the newspaper. Orlando fans don't think he's worth so much money. Jennifer Connelly was actually worried about the Houston Rockets' salary space. After all, there's still Hakeem Olajuwon in the team, right? Aaron kissed Jennifer Connelly on the lips. Shaquille O'Neal is worth the money. Jennifer Connelly was silent. Next year, Hakeem Olajuwon's salary will be almost $10 million. If the Rockets pursue O'Neal, they will have to give up Olajuwon. The best thing to do is to send Olajuwon away this year in exchange for some role players, because next season is the last year of Hakeem Olajuwon's contract with the Rockets. If Olajuwon is released this year, it means that the Rockets have withdrawn from the championship race next season, keeping Olajuwon for 1 year, plus O'Neal joining. The Rockets' strength next season will be unprecedentedly strong. Aaron sighed. Let's talk about it later. Let's get Shaquille O'Neal first. He's the jewel in this year's free market. As for Olajuwon, Aaron hadn't made up his mind yet. If he traded such a talented player, the Houston fans would probably challenge him. But there was no need to overthink it. The NBA is essentially a business league. Hadn't the Knicks clearly stated their willingness to trade Patrick Ewing? Anyway, Rockets general manager Ray Patterson and head coach Rudy Tomjanovich were both in Atlanta. Let's discuss it. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.